Okay, I think I'm here. I think I'm here. Hello and welcome to another day of Johnny. It's just you, me, and more Johnny. We are currently at Johnny 19. We have crested the hill, the proverbial hill, of this game series. I feel like one of my hearing aid batteries is going to die, so I'll just pull that out. I'll have it ready just for when it does die. Because I intend to start with something a little interesting. I was going to wait a minute, though. For reference, though, we have the other 20. Well, it's about 20-ish games anyways. 18 more. 18 more to go. We're halfway. And then I did download the Mike series. The Adventure of Mike. I haven't downloaded all the Sally ones yet. Then I did download some other stuff too. Whatever. Oh, and then I got to do the Johnny fan game. So we got quite a bit. We got a lot to do. So something that I thought was particularly interesting though is as I play through all of these Johnny games, it just happened to be I had just recently gone to Gen Con, and then I got 3 days back here, and then I went on a family trip to Iowa, and I happened to at an antique store pick up a copy of 2 books, and it's kind of weird. I didn't think about it until now. Well, in the last stream or so. But I'm always collecting like fairy tale books and like children's story stuff because I find that really fascinating. Probably just because I'm interested in Jung himself, Carl Jung, however you want to call it. And I find all the mythology and stories and folk tales and fairy tales over time interesting. And I also like to kind of like track whether I think something has been like anglicized or changed or romanticized or just edited or censored. I find that really fascinating because I do feel a lot of these stories that were orally passed down have been edited in some way, or the original intention of them have been lost, which is why I really like the Turnip Princess, because it's a collection of folk tales from a time that seems more untouched than a lot of the modern stuff does. So anyways, I picked up this book called Tusog Troll, which you can see here, Norwegian folk tales, fairy tales, and trolls. And I read some of it when I was in Iowa. And what I think is distinctly interesting about it is that we're playing through the Johnny games, and Kim is Norwegian from Norway. And I sort of see some of the like, and this depends on what you believe, I guess. Like, do you believe that the collective unconscious exists? Do you believe that there is some sort of hereditary knowledge that sometimes is accessed maybe in dreams or symbols or things like that, or people that are really schizophrenic or something like that, people that struggle with the blurring of like reality in different ways like that? That's probably a bad description of it, but essentially, if you are somebody who believes that we are pulling from, perhaps have access to something deeper than just humanity itself. I do notice when I play the Johnny games some of these similarities between trolls, and even some of the gameplay and mechanics seem like troll-like in different ways. And it's not even just their big noses, which obviously is a staple of the Johnny series, but there is like troll stuff where they do. Some of them are. It's weird because this book series is a collection of stories that were popularized from somebody that did like comics of them and stuff in Norway. I forget the man's name. Man and woman, I believe. I don't remember if it's 2 of them. Yeah, illustrator Jens R. Nilsson. And then Solveig Møren Sanden. few female comic book creators. She is the first acknowledged female Norwegian cartoonist and accomplished illustrator, and we're going to see some of her stuff soon. But I find the troll thing, the like idea of like magic and like shrinking, which is something we see in the Johnny series, the like trickery of trolls. Sometimes trolls are allies, sometimes they're enemies, sometimes they're stupid, sometimes they just hate Christians and want to eat them because they're probably like some old vestigial like pagan, or perhaps the stories arose out of a need for like to explain Christianity, sort of eschewing and shunning a lot of the old pagan rituals in like Norway and stuff like that. Whatever the case and whatever it may be, I do see some interesting similarities. So I was going to start today by reading one of the stories from this book that I think I haven't read all the stories. I have 2 volumes of Tussog Troll. And they're bilingual, so they have the English and then the Norwegian at the bottom. So you can see it's just like a small thing. We're going to read Soria Moria Castle today. I'm going to read it to you, and I have the pictures in a separate tab over here. But are we going to cope? Yes, Addo, we're going to cope today. Also is, yep, it's still a pony. Yep, Jade put the pony in there. So, well, hi there. I like Christianity. Nice. How you doing, Fuzzy? How's your day going? How's both your days going? So yeah, I'm just going to get into it. I wanted to sort of set the backdrop of the Johnny games with some troll-like Norwegian folk tales. Norwegian. I'm struggling to say Norwegian without slurring it. But I felt like this story sort of encompasses both some of the worldview, some of the trickery, some of the pagan Christianity battle, some of the coming of age Bildungsroman of a child. Like, it has some of that old mythologicalness to it that I quite like, some of that inexplicable logic and reasoning that doesn't make much sense that I thought was pretty enjoyable. And it also has some weird, interesting elements from just characters and monsters and creatures and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to read to you. So we're going to read that right now. So Fuzzy says, I ate $24 at Taco Bell and currently regretting that I ate $24. Well, do you regret that you paid $24 for it because you reiterated it? Or do you regret that it's just too much food for $24? Like, anyone want to be my neighbor? Why, do you have an empty space, Jazz? Or are you just trying to get more roommates or what? How are you doing today on Saturday? Story time. My neighbors moved out. Well, I guess you best pick your neighbors. You can't pick your family, but you can pick your neighbors. All right, so here we go. I'll read this. So on my computer, let me get to the right image. We start at the beginning. Both of my friends moved out. I already live in your basement. Brother, I don't have a basement. She's in an apartment. She ain't got no basement. Addo is a mole people. All right, so this is the first page of Soria Moria Castle. I wanted to set the mood. This is what it looks like. Each page has on the left-hand side the bilingual, the English, and then the Norwegian, I believe, on the bottom. I can't read it, so I don't know. And then on the right-hand side, we have a series of pictures in comic book form that's sort of, and I'll continue on. So, here we go. This is Soria Moria Castle. Once upon a time, there was a couple who had a son, and he was called Halvor. Ever since he was a little boy, he never wanted to do anything. He just sat about and poked in the ashes. They tried to send him away into service, but after he had been gone for a few days, he ran back home and sat once more at the fireplace. Then one day, a skipper arrived and asked Halvor if he would like to come with him and sail the seas to see faraway lands. This Halvor had wanted to do that right away. He was given some food for his backpack, bid farewell to his parents, and strolled off with the skipper. How long they had sailed, I know not, but after a while a fierce storm was upon them. When it was over and it was calm again, they had no idea where they were. They had drifted to a foreign land, which none of them knew, not even the skipper, who had sailed far and wide. The weather was now so still that they were becalmed, and Halvor asked the skipper if he had permission to go ashore and take a look around. "Aye, if you think you are such a magnificent boy that you want to be seen by other people, then just go ahead," answered the skipper. Halvor then promised to come back as soon as the wind was at sailing strength again. So off he went, and it was indeed a beautiful land. At all the places he arrived, there were large plains with fields and meadows, but of people he saw neither hide nor hair. After some time he came to a big road. He followed this road, and when it neared evening he saw a large castle that was bright and shiny. Halvor had walked the entire day and was hungry, which is why he went inside the castle wanting to ask for food. In the kitchen there were dishes of gold and silver, but of people there were none to be seen. After Halvor had waited for a while and nobody came, he went and opened a door. There inside, a princess sat spinning wool. Then we get to page 2. "My goodness, is it Christian folk who have come?" cried the princess. "It would be best if you went on your way so the troll does not gobble you up, because here lives a troll with 3 heads. I would be just as happy if he had 4 heads. I would be just as happy if he had 4 heads, I would," answered the boy, "because I won't leave. But you must give me food, as I am terribly hungry." After Halvor had eaten his fill, the princess said he should try to see if he could swing the sword that hung on the wall. But he did not even manage to lift it, just a teensy-weensy bit. "Take a swig from the bottle that hangs there beside it," the princess said. Now Halvor could swing the sword with ease. All of a sudden, the troll came roaring in, and Halvor quickly slipped behind the door. "Ooh, I can smell the stench of a Christian man," said the troll, and put his first head through the door. "Aye, and this is what you should be wary of," said Halvor, as he swung the sword and cut off all 3 heads. And now the princess was freed. She was so happy that she both danced and burst into song. But then she began to think of her sisters. "Where are they?" asked Halvor. "Aye." And then she told him about how one was with a troll who lived in a castle 6 miles away, and the other was in a troll's castle that was some 9 miles away from here. So 6 and 9 miles. I don't know why that's specifically denoted, but it is for the story. The next morning, Halvor was underway at dawn. He was so impatient that he walked and ran the whole day, over mountains and hills, through swamps and forest. And then he saw the castle. He became a little afraid, because it was much more impressive than the first. Here, there was no sign of people either. Finally, he came into a room where there sat a princess spinning. "Goodness, you dare come here," she cried. "It is probably best if you hurry and leave at once, because here lives a troll with 6 heads. "No, even if it had 6 heads more, I would not leave," answered Halvor. "But something to eat I must have." He's very hungry, and there's the denotion of 6 miles away, 6 heads, whatever. You get the point. You see it coming. And then, "Hello, Brent, I see you. Bedtime stories." Yeah, we're reading some Norwegian stories to sort of set up the backdrop of the next Johnny. So I'm going to keep going. The troll is Cody. It could be. Love you guys. I'm going to go do Saturday things. Enjoy your day, Jazz. Thank you for coming out. Norwegian folktales, huh? Yep. We're getting all of them. So this is page 3. The story thus far is that Halvor is a boy who's always spent his life staring at fire and ashes. And when a random man, an old skipper, asked him if he wanted to see the world, he went to travel. And then he's now just rescued the first princess from the first castle, and now we're on to the second castle. So I'll continue. We only got a few more pages. It's not too long of a story. So afterwards, he took a swig from the bottle, so he could swing the troll's sword that hung on the wall. As it happened, the troll arrived. He was so huge and massive that he had to go sideways through the door. "Ooh, such a Christian man stench there is here," he said. And then, just then, Halvor cut off all of his heads. The princess was so happy that she did not know which foot to stand on, but then she began to think of her sister in the third castle. Halvor wanted to save her as well, and off he went once again. He both walked and he ran. At sunset he saw the castle, and it was much more splendid than the other 2. He walked through the kitchen all the way inside, and there sat a princess who was so beautiful that her beauty was beyond measure. She asked him to go, or the troll would gobble him up alive, because he had 9 heads, she said. Even if he has 9 more than those 9, and even another 9, I will not go, said Halvor, as he stood by the stove. So she gave him the troll's sword, and asked him to take a swig from the bottle, so that he could swing it. Suddenly the troll came in so fast that the ground shook. He was even larger and more gigantic than the others. When the first head came through the door, Halvor cut it off, and then he cut off head after head. Now that all the princesses were freed, they all went together to the castle, and they were happier than they have been in years. They were fond of Halvor, all 3 of them, but the youngest liked him the most. Yet he was so gloomy and quiet that the princess asked if he did not like being with them. Well, he thought he did, but he still longed to go home with his parents, he said. He still longed to be with his parents, he said. The princesses knew of a way. They gave him new clothes and a ring that worked so that that one could wish oneself there and then back again. They gave him new clothes and a ring that worked so that one could wish oneself there and then back again. But their names he must not mention if he wanted to see them again. So they gave him clothes, they gave him a ring, but if he mentions them, then he would not see them again. I wish I was at home, said Halvor, and just as soon as he wished it, he was standing outside the house of his parents. It was dusk, and when his father and mother saw that such a dashingly stylish and well-dressed stranger had arrived, they were completely bewildered and began to both bow and curtsy. Halvor asked if he could stay there for a night. No, we don't have the excellence to be able to put up such a fine gentleman as you, they said. It would be best if you go to the manor up there. It isn't far. You can see the smokestack from here. There they have lots of room, and everything is splendid. Oh no, said Halvor. Please let me stay here for the night. Just let me sit by the fireplace. To this they could not say no to, and so he sat down by the fireplace and began to poke at the ashes, as he had done when he lived at home and loafed. Have you ever had any children? He asked at last. Aye. There was a boy whose name is Halvor, but they did not know where he was, and not even if he was still alive. Could this not be me, then? Asked Halvor. This I know for certain, said the woman. Our Halvor was so lazy that he did absolutely nothing. He could never be such as you. In a while, the woman went to the fireplace to rake the hearth, and when the light of the coals shone on Halvor just as it had done when he was at home poking about in the ashes, the woman recognized him. My goodness, is that really you then, Halvor? She exclaimed, and his old parents were so happy that the words alone could not express it. The next day, his mother wanted to go up to the manor and show him off to the arrogant daughters there. She went first, and Halvor came after her. When his mother told them that Halvor had come home again, dressed as fine as a prince, they tossed their heads back and laughed. He is probably still the same ragamuffin he's always been. Just then, Halvor arrived, and the girls were so ashamed that they hardly dared look at him. Well, you have always thought you were so fine and beautiful, he said. But if only the princesses I had freed were here, you would see girls more beautiful than both the sun and the moon. He had not more than just said the words before they were standing there, but Halvor became worried, because he now remembered what he had promised. At the manor, they wanted to hold a feast for the princesses, but they did not have time to take a break. We would like to meet your parents, they said, and then we would like to look around. So he went with them. They came to a large lake below the manor. Close by the lake there was a beautiful green hill. There the princesses wanted to sit and rest for a while. It was so wonderful to look out over the lake, they said. The youngest princess asked Halvor to lay his head on her lap. So Halvor laid his head on her lap, and it was not long before he fell asleep. She then took the ring off his finger and put on another ring in its place, and then she said to her sisters, Hold on to me for now, as I hold on to you, and wish we were at Soria Moria Castle. In an instant, they had slipped away. When Halvor awoke and realized the princesses had vanished, he sat there and cried and moaned and was beyond comforting. No matter how much his parents begged him, he would not wait, but said goodbye and said he may never see them again, because if he did not find the princesses, he would rather die. He then had 300 gold coins left. He put them in his pocket and went on his way. When he had walked a while, he met a man with a horse. This he wanted to buy. He is old, but he will carry your bag and food, as well as yourself, if you walk now and then, said the old man, and it was a deal. Halvor put his bag on the horse. Sometimes he walked and sometimes he rode. He went through a large forest where there were many patches of green that shone so beautifully between the trees. He walked and he rode, and it felt as if there was no end to the forest, nor did he know where he was. But during the evening, on the second day, he saw a light between the trees. If only there were people up there. Then I could warm myself and get something to eat, Halvor was thinking. He arrived at a tiny little cabin. Through the window he can see an old couple. The woman had a nose as long as a poker. Johnny reference? No. Good evening, said the woman, who had come out onto the steps. What errand do you have by coming here? There haven't been Christian folk here in over 100 years. So Halvor told her now how he was on his way to Soria Moria Castle and asked if she knew the way. No, said the woman, but here comes the moon. He will surely know, because he shines out on everything, she said. When the moon was bright and clear over the tree tops, the woman shrieked, O moon, can you tell me the way to Soria Moria Castle? No, answered the moon, this I cannot, because that time I shone there, a cloud was in the way. Wait a while, said the woman, and I will ask the west wind when he comes. I see you have a horse as well. You wouldn't want to swap it with me, would you? We have a pair of old boots which can take you 15 miles in each step. You can have them for the horse, and then you will arrive in no time at all. Aye, this Halvor wanted to do. Suddenly, the west wind came roaring in so that the forest groaned. O west wind, can you tell me the way to Soria Moria Castle? Shrieked the woman. Here is one who is going there. Aye, of course I do, whistled the wind. I am on my way there now to dry the clothes for a wedding that is to be there. Halvor put on the 15-mile boots and off they went, over the hills and ridges and mountains. At last the west wind said, I cannot be with you any longer, because I am going to blow down some spruce forests first. But soon you will come to some girls who are washing clothes, and then you are almost there. A little while later, Halvor came to the girls who were washing clothes. They asked if he had seen anything of the west wind who was coming to dry the clothes for the wedding. Sure, said Halvor, he is coming soon. He's just going to flatten up some spruce forests first. But do you know the way to the Soria Moria Castle? They showed him the way, and when he arrived at the castle, it was full of horses and people. But Halvor was so tattered and torn after having followed the west wind through bushes and brushes, that he stayed out of the way and did not come forth until the last day of the wedding, when they were about to eat dinner. As was customary, they would toast the bride and bridesmaids, and the master of ceremonies went around and poured. Eventually he came to Halvor as well. When he had drunk, he dropped the ring the princess had put onto his finger into the glass. He had asked the master of ceremonies to pass on his greetings to the bride. When the princess saw the ring, she stood up from the table. Who is most deserving to have one of us as a bride, she asked, he who has saved us, or he who sits as the groom? To this there could not have been more than one answer. Everyone agreed, and the message was sent to Halvor that he should come in. When Halvor heard this, it did not take long to take off his raggedy clothes and dress him up as the bridegroom. Aye, there is the right one, shouted the youngest princess when she saw him, and she rejected every other suitor and wed Halvor, and they lived happily ever after. And that is Soria Moria Castle in Tusog Troll. Fairy Tales Volume 1. Wait, is this Johnny lore? So this isn't specifically Johnny lore, but Kim is Norwegian, and I happen to have picked up on my recent trip to Iowa these Norwegian fairy tale books, and so it felt like some act of synchronicity to not, we had to sit down and read them. I felt like it was pretty important to read them. Now, the reason I wanted to bring them up is because I feel like it gives a little bit of interesting backdrop to some of the coming of age stories. You have this fire boy, the ashes boy, these tales of people that would just sit around and eat ashes all day. He's a young boy. It isn't until an old wise man or an old person who's seen a lot of the world comes to whisk him off on a boat. And then while he's off traveling on his journeys without his parents here, he finds a castle with a girl in it and decides to save her. And in order to save her, I find it interesting that he has to drink this bottle. Perhaps the strength the troll has is because of alcohol. I'm not quite sure. But it allows him to pick up the sword to lop off the heads. And then after he lops off the 3 heads of that one, he has to go 6 miles to the next castle to take out the 6-headed, monster in the next castle. They all hate Christians, obviously, because they're Norwegian, probably old pagan things here. But he does this 3 times, takes out the trolls, and then he finds his way. He decides, well, I want to go back home. I got some girls, I got castles, I got riches, I look better in these clothing, but I still want to visit my parents. His parents don't even recognize him anymore because he's not a lazy loafer until the fire hits his face the right way. And then he gets kind of haughty, and he's like, well, I'm going to go show off to these girls. Like, the girls I always thought were so arrogant and pretty are actually just ugly, and they're not as pretty as the other princesses, but, they had a pact when he went home that he couldn't mention these girls at all. He couldn't show them off. And so they whisk away again. And then he gets all mopey and sad, buys a horse, takes the horse to an old cabin. There's an old wise woman that he meets this time. And she has the old wild woman, I guess is the best way to put it. And she has an understanding of nature. She asks the moon, have you seen him? Moon's like, no, man. Cloud was in the way. Couldn't see the castle. I don't know how to get there. And she's like, all right, well, we'll just ask the wind. He usually blows by this time. She's like, okay, ask the wind. And she's like, yo, man, can I have the horse? I got these old boots. They jump 15 miles in a stride. Maybe you can use that to catch up with the wind. He's like, yeah, I don't need the horse anymore. I got places to be. Then he lops off, and then there's a wedding taking place. I guess perhaps the princesses brought in a bunch of people or something like that, and they got pressured to, the trolls were the only thing protecting their purity and innocence, if you think about it. The pagan, these symbols of nature were the only things protecting the women from getting wed, and then since he wanted to go back to his parents, and he was trying to show them off and be sort of arrogant himself in his own way, his own greedy way, he had to earn his right. He had to travel again back to them to prove that he was valuable to be married to, even though he looks all raggedy and disgruntled. And that's all it takes. That's all he has to show is that he, the one who saved them, earned the right by traveling back and forth to get to them. I thought it was a pretty interesting story. It's got some interesting things. It's got the wild woman. It's got the old wise man. It's got the boy stares at fire. It's got some fighting. It's got some trolls. It's got some nature. It's a pretty interesting, concise story. Not all of them are like this. Some of the trolls are just downright stupid. There's one story where there's a guy has a polar bear for some reason as a pet, and there's this couple that's getting hassled by trolls every year to feed them in some bountiful feast, and so he just leaves this polar bear there, and which scares them off because they think it's a cat, and it's not a cat. And when they go to poke the bear, he ends up getting angry and attacking them. And so that was pretty interesting. Kind of reminds me of some sort of there's a pagan feast, but not anymore because we got a polar bear here. There's another one where a boy just tricks a troll. He's cutting down the forest, and the troll's like, hey, stop cutting down the forest. And the boy's like, oh, I'm not cutting down the forest. I'm doing something else. And then he keeps tricking the troll, and eventually they sit down for dinner, and he's like, oh, well, let's have a competition to see who can eat the most soup. And then the troll's like, well, how did you win? Even though he's been cheating the entire time. And the boy's like, oh, well, it's easy. I just cut a hole in my stomach. You should try it. And the troll's like, oh, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And he takes a knife, plunges it into his stomach, and just dies. And the boy's like, phew, finally dealt with that shit. It's like, what is happening? Some of them are really weird and hard to piece out together. But they're very fascinating. I have 2 volumes of it. I'm only halfway through volume 1. Very fascinating stuff. First off, where is the 12-headed troll? I don't know. He's probably 12 miles away in a more splendid and more spectacular castle, Addo. He's probably further away. These princesses are a little more sophisticated than mine. Well, they're slightly more sophisticated because they're encouraging him to get his liquid power and liquid courage to swing the sword. Perhaps he just needs to be a little bit drunk. He's got to dull his ego a little bit before he can manifest the power to pick up a giant sword and lop off some heads. But also they spin thread and stuff like that. That's common. If you remember Rumpelstiltskin, the old fairy tale I believe the girl is trapped up spinning gold threads by Rumpelstiltskin, if I remember the story correctly. But yeah, then he's off killing like a man. Yeah, that's true. He's off killing like a man. interesting view of what people thought of the story was. Yeah, it is. It is fascinating to see this story and then some of the iterations of it. Is that where the saying comes from? Poke the bear? I don't know. I don't think so, because it would be too weird. I imagine the poke the bear. My best guess, and this is coming out of my ass here. I'm just pulling this out of my ass. But my guess is because bears hibernate. Somebody saw like a bear and was like, "Oh man, that's really cool." And then they went to poke it to see if it would wake up because they found it in some cave, and then it killed them or something. And then they're like, "Well, Johnny, whoever his name, Timmy learned his lesson. We lost Timmy years ago. He's eaten by a bear. Don't ever poke a bear." That's probably my guess because of their hibernation thing and them sleeping. I suspect that's why. I remember Rumpelstiltskin, such an old story. Yeah, there's a lot of variations of it too. Better than the boy that got framed for a crime he didn't do, but then he got tortured until he said he did and got executed. Yep, I don't know what story that is, but I have heard of something like that. It also kind of reminds me of the story of Socrates, right? You have this guy that all he does is question people's reality, and then they get upset with him, and then they put him on trial, and then make him drink poison, and he's like, well, logically, I can't say that, I can't possibly know if there's an afterlife or not, so I shouldn't fear death, because if I fear, there's nothing to fear. I don't have any information about it. It's irrational to fear death. So I'll just die, and then we'll see what happens, basically. So I think this story is about going to your destiny and not going back. It's an interesting take on the story. My take on the story is like it's a coming of age thing. It's a story about a boy becoming a man. And some of the interesting aspects of him becoming a man is him using the weapon of the troll. And the troll for me sort of represents like this nature, this chaotic nature that can't be tamed. It grows into multiple heads. It hates Christians because that's just the nature of, obviously nature hates Christians. That's just natural. Anything that threatens Christians. But he has to physically take the sword. He has to take the drinks. He has to eat the food that the trolls eat. He has to use the weapon that they use. In order to defeat them, to save princesses. Why 3? Maybe there's some sort of polyamory thing that they removed years later. Maybe it was about having 3 wives, or maybe 3 is just kind of like the triangle. It's a pretty popular symbol. There's a lot of ways to take that. And then, so after he finishes taking out the trolls and doing that multiple times, that sort of step progression, he had to level up a little bit. He had to gain some EXP. He had to kill a couple more trolls. They're like boss monsters. Obviously, the mile walk between each one is him gaining EXP. It's actually an adventure game. This is the outset of where RPGs came from. This is what I'm leading into. This is my transition, my segue, if you will. And he's like all mopey and gloomy, and he's like, oh man, I want mom and dad. So he wants to go see his mom and dad and return to his childlike ways, kind of to visit them, to see. But in returning to mom and dad, he sort of is childish, and he tries to show off his new women, his ideal fantastical princess women to these old ugly girls that were so arrogant about their beauty. But they're like, no, man, we can't have a guy that acts like a child and shows us off to everyone. He's got to be a man, and a man has to earn the right to marry at least one of us, probably multiple of us in an original iteration of this, but just one of us in this one. And then so he's got to do the journey. He's got to buy a horse. He's got to buy an old horse, the old reliable, That's obviously where that has to come from. No. Then he meets the wild woman. He's already met the wise man on the boat, and she gives him information of how to talk to nature, how to deal with nature, how to engage with nature in a more wild fashion. And then he's got some old boots. He lumbers his way through, and then the princess, the journey is earned, to marry her. It's not the random groomsmen that you have to earn her purity, her innocence, her by defeating the trolls and by becoming the best there ever was. That's kind of my general interpretation of it. It is interesting. I'm sure I'll learn more as I look at more symbols and stuff like that. But I felt like this is a pretty cohesive story with a lot of stuff in it. So that's that. He leveled up. He did level up. So speaking of leveling up, we are halfway through the Johnny series. And today we crest the hill and descend down the mountain. We have our own mountain, our own trolls, our own things to deal with. And We're going to tackle them. You seem very cozy today. I am very cozy. I got my coffee. I have my water. It's Saturday. It's peaceful. I've actually been dog sitting here and there. So I've been going back and forth to one of my friends' houses, and it's been very cozy there. The dogs were very, very well trained, and also they were very needy for attention, which was pretty funny. The first night I had been there, I was like I had gone to lay down in bed, and I was like, oh, I don't know if they like sleep with their owners or anything. I don't know if they like lay in their bed or something like that. So like I had gone to lay down in bed, but they didn't really do anything. So they left the room. So I just closed the door because I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be woken up by a dog in the middle of the night. And so the second day, I go there and I'm getting ready for sleep, and one of the dogs immediately jumps on the bed and stays there. They're like, yo, man, you're not going to close me out. I am staying on this bed. I'm not moving. I was like, okay, well, I guess you're here with me then. I'm just going to leave the door open. You guys can come and go. But what I did expect to happen is they woke me up because I was sitting there. I was laying there, and then like she kept nuzzling her head under my hand. And so I like pet her, and then I went to lax my hand, and then she tried to like pick it up again. I'm like, okay, I assume you want me to get up and let you out because you got to go to the bathroom or something. So that's fine. I guess I'll get my ass up. My bad. I was going to lay here for another 30 minutes, but you got me, buddy. So that was pretty funny. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty cozy today. Can I get some puzzle ideas for free? Dude, Cozy Pen, that's really funny. You need puzzle ideas for your game. Make a puzzle about Bobby, blue, orange, blue, blue, yellow. Who's Bobby? It doesn't matter who Bobby is. He's making an acronym. That's a good idea, Fuzzy. Yeah, make a puzzle about Bobby. What puzzle ideas could you do, man? What haven't you explored puzzle-wise? I have one of those puzzle books. I don't know if it's... I think I have it here. Yeah, I'll help you out. Let me see if I remember where my puzzle book is. I think it's... Is it behind me? All right, guys. Tell me where you think the puzzle book is. No. Take a minute. We'll just do a whole kids show thing today. Greek mythology, warriors, elves. I got a cookbook. Complete Guide to Masonry. That's obviously really useful information to have here. The Complete Guide to Masonry. Not Freemasonry, just Masonry. There's a difference. I kind of swore I had a puzzle book here. Do you have one of those puzzles, Addo, where like... I don't know where it is. I thought it was up here. But do you have one of those puzzles in there where it's like so-and-so is taller than so-and-so but shorter than so-and-so, and then so-and-so did this and then went up a hill and came down and now he's 5 inches shorter? You should do something like that. I'll keep looking, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Those are the vibes. Complete Guide to Flooring. What the hell am I going to do with a guide to flooring? Who bought these books? Maybe I brought it to my house. This is that other fairy tale book I was talking about. It's Franz Xavier von Schoworth. It's The Turnip Princess, if you can see that. That was the one that I was talking about where all the stories are... they're more ancient. They have more of that like weird humanness to them that doesn't feel like some Christians came in and sort of scribbled over all the notes. It felt like some real sort of accurate versions of oral history passed down. Yeah, I don't know where my puzzle book is. I'll have to look. Maybe I defeated it and just completely destroyed it. It's basically like... It's like a book of children's puzzles that has things like, you know, all the story problems that you see in different, you know, different children's school settings where they're like, oh, you have like, they teach you like basic things like liters and water and stuff like that. Like, oh, this cup has 5 liters and this bucket has 3. Like, how do you manage it? But I know you're more of like a science puzzle person, so you're gonna have to think about it from a science perspective. Whenever I come up with puzzles or interesting things for something, it's usually based off of something that I've read recently or learned that I want to teach. So maybe just go learn. Go find something to learn. Work, work, work. Lock? Huh? Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. Without further ado, you guys have been waiting patiently. You've let me set the scene with the Norwegian story tales today on our Saturday evening. So why don't we sit down and venture in to Johnny 19. I'm going to take off my hearing aids because I don't need to hear anything. Nothing but the grunting of Kim and the whining whistles that bore a hole through my skull. Is that trepidation? Is that what that is? Is that the word I'm thinking of? I don't know if that's the word I'm thinking of. Define trepidation. A feeling or fear or agitation about something that may happen. Then I'm thinking of trepanation, which is drilling holes in your head, right? Trepanation, also known as a surgical process that involves creating a hole in the skull. Typically performed to relieve pressure in the brain or remove a foreign object from the skull. Yeah, the whistling noises from Kim's bisected, bipedal eggmen trepanated into my skull. That's it. That's how I'm going to say it. That's what I'm going with. No, you need to hear Kim grunt. Oh, don't worry. I'll be getting my fill of Kim grunting. All right, let's give it a shot. Let me put this in square mode. Nice. Square mode. Here we are. Welcome to Johnny 19. I notice we're getting zanier because everything's on the left and right side. So let's see here. Enter to start, backspace to load. Thank God we still have saving. Made by Kim. Figures. F1 for lore. Oh, there's no lore, dude. He's slacking, bro. I really like the lore between games. Oh, no. I'm gonna turn this up so you can hear it a little bit. Let me know how that sounds. Glue your headphones to your ears. Yeah, I'll get on that. So you'll notice immediately that we have a slightly more, I guess I should say slightly more less rendered version of Johnny. Movement is hoppy. He's hopping around. We don't have any shift or space abilities. This is Red Johnny. Alright, he's still a PG gamer, and he kind of has what vaguely looks like a gun. Though it's hard to say if that's a gun anymore. Time. We're fighting the time. Oh. Okay, so their death animation is time reducing infinitely into the upper left quadrant. Okay, that's a pretty easy level. It's pretty fast feeling. Oh, we have the banana guys again from the previous levels. That's interesting. I didn't... Oh, can we step on them? Oh, they have collision. Interesting. I don't know if any of the enemies have ever just let us touch them before. This is our first time we can physically go to the petting zoo and touch the enemy. Obviously, they shoot. They bite back, but... Also, I don't see any death... kill zones in the top of the map anymore, which is interesting. So something I have noticed about the Johnny games, which you'll notice quite significantly here, is that, I don't know. Yeah, we can use our bullets to deflect stuff, but you'll notice in the previous Johnny game, it was, like, pretty good. Like, it might have been the best of the series. It had the shrinking, it had the nose gain, and then with Kim, there's always this rhythm of give and take, and this game is about the take. You know, he gave us like a competent Johnny game with like competent mechanics and interesting ideas, and then this one he reduces our agency again. He's cutting away the layers. Just he gives them and he takes them. Kim is the creator and the destroyer. He has his I want to say Thanatosian energy. He's got both. I can't remember the love thing. Oh, Eros. He's got his Eros, his creation. He's got his Thanatos. Is that Thanos? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Greek gods. Roman gods? I don't know which name is which. Gonna have to look at my books again. But anyways, he's got a mix. This game feels honestly not bad to play. I'm glad it's interesting that the games that we have more abilities, like the last one, we had the nose shrinking, we had all that stuff, but we didn't have the ability to block bullets with our own bullets. It's interesting that we're given that back in limited circumstances. I'm not sure what the best way to beat this is. In previous Johnny games, at least the last one, I could go left and sort of hang my nose off the edge, sort of give myself a little bit of a secret grapple in the corner to protect myself. Our bullets are just a little bit too low to hit some of these things, but I can also shoot down. That is an option. And I can touch these guys too, to some extent. Well, I could touch the last guy, maybe not these. So, why does he hop? I don't know why he hops. Maybe he's hopping happy. He doesn't have any teeth. Notice that the Johnny has not had teeth for a little bit too. That's interesting. Can you shrink? I cannot shrink in this one. I can't do anything. The only thing I can do is press enter to restart, and I can die. And I can shoot, and I can block bullets with my bullets as a sort of defense mechanism. I'm the creature trapped in the corner sort of thing, you know. It's fight or flight, and Johnny's choosing to fight. That's the only way he can protect himself. This world is hostile to Johnny, as are the previous ones. Okay, I'm trying to kill this guy. This clock is here, beating my ass. Figures time always beats my ass. There's never enough of it to go around. The days move too quickly. There needs to be a Johnny Metroidvania. You know what? I agree with you. I think there does need to be a Johnny Metroidvania. I would actually really like a game that would have, like, you know, like you gain the nose ability and then you have to use the nose ability to, like, you know, break down. You have to lockpick doors with your nose, your big, long nose. That's the only way you can, like, unlock the next area is by learning how to lockpick with it. There could be some interesting variety. Look, I'm already working on the next Johnny parody game already. I was working on my homage to Kim, which is why I wanted to play through these games, because I felt I was too vicarious in my endeavor. I felt I didn't have the battle scars of a veteran who's been through the Johnny games. It didn't feel real. It felt like imposter syndrome, looking at a caged wild animal through the safety of a glass pane, like some tourist in a zoo. No, I wanted to be in the cave. I want to be in the habitat with them. I want to learn about the animals from the source. And so to do that, I have to become Johnny. I got to become the wild animal here. So that's what we're doing. We're endeavoring to experience whatever the hell this is. And I'm learning to appreciate them more too. There was an episode of this where I was very antagonistic. I quite hated it. I didn't really like where the Johnny series was going. I felt this need and this inclination, this expectation that it should progress, right? There should always be betterness in each game. But that's unrealistic, and it's unrealistic for life. Life has rhythm, life has seasons. There is a living and a dying, and dying does contribute to understanding and growth in different ways. And so perhaps that's what Kim is exploring, either consciously or subconsciously here with each game. He gives us a little bit of energy. He takes away our agency. He makes a fun game. He makes a shit game. Whatever. It's an iterative process, and we're in Kim's little world. We're in his sandbox. We're playing with his toys. And sometimes they cut our hands. This one, so far, this level's kind of a pain in the ass. Because it feels random. But I think we can devise a strategy. I think I need to pre-fire more bullets, and I need to be more patient. Because there's a lot of enemies that are kind of like tall, but I keep trying to kill these banana things. The banana things are from the previous game, too. They look very similar. Those ones look squeezed like toothpaste tubes with a jack-o'-lantern covered in the remains of the banana refuse that left the end of the tube. But these, they look more full of life. In a weird way. Okay, can I... Oh, I can sort of get an angle. If I hit the right buttons. Ah, okay. The bananas in that lower quadrant are nipping at my feet. So, he's decreasing our expectation to surprise us with the same mechanics over and over. That's an interesting take on it. That could be true. Sorry, I'll catch up a little bit here. I love your philosophical commentary on the game series that most would find so empty and worthless. Yeah, I do think that Johnny really requires of you to, you know, some of the stuff is like kind of abstract and vague, but we're building an understanding of Kim. We watched some of his vlogs yesterday. Some of them he's more lurid and lucid, I guess. Some of them he's strange and bewildering, and it's hard to understand his humor. But the way I've been sort of building this in my mind is perhaps Kim is struggling with a very hostile world. That's why everything in the Johnny world sort of like fights you. That's just like a psychoanalytical assumption on my part. I'm not quite sure what his life was like. I don't really know him. I don't know what he went through. But I have played through 18 Johnny games, and you ain't gonna stop me from trying to psychoanalyze this guy after playing through this shit. This is my fun. This is what I'm enjoying. I'm using my God-given pattern recognition to try to devise some sort of reason for why these exist. And perhaps the reason for them to exist is just the fact that they do, and it's self-evident in its own way. That's fine too. I know something people often suffer from is that everything has to have a reason, which is why religion is possible, right? It's difficult to cope with the idea that everything is just meaningless and random. So humans they find comfort in coming up with any sort of reason to describe and understand the world around them. They even make up their own reasons. They delude themselves into believing that it has a reason and it isn't just all meaningless, random nothingness. And I'm having my fun doing that with this game, so. I'm jumping into Kim's psyche bit by bit. I'm stepping my shoes in Johnny's feet. It doesn't even look like he's wearing shoes. He doesn't have a hat. He had a hat in the previous game. We lost his hat of power and he gained a hat, and I think Johnny's 16 or something like that, which was actually pretty good. He was very tiny, though. The world was much larger and more unforgiving and oppressive in its own way. Now we're decreasing time. It's trying to kill us. These banana creatures here, though, they're giving me a hard-ass time. So what I want to try to do is I want to pre-fire some bullets, and I want to just jump over them. I want to avoid it all. I don't think I can... okay, so here's what I'm going to try to do. We want to get a lucky spawn. Yeah, I say lucky as I died 20 times. Let's try to get a lucky spawn. Let's not take any damage over here. Let's, I think I hear... Is Johnny taking damage? I don't know. I hear an every so often. The music is kind of relaxing, but also moving in a direction in some way. I feel like I'm being pressed to move onward. Perhaps these guys aren't guys I'm supposed to kill, or perhaps... See, I can't quite get an angle right here. I can't shoot there. Oh, but I can shoot a little bit here. Maybe that's the intended way. See, I can't... Johnny really doesn't want to shoot here. All the bullets are just... But as he descends a little bit... I'm hitting him! I am hitting him. This is the patience that Kim teaches us between games. To sort of abuse the game in any way possible to beat it. It's only the ones that my gun touches, yeah, like those few down there. Let me catch up with chat. It symbolized that he has embraced the ability of jumping. That's what it symbolizes. Nose pick. This is Kim's world. We just live in it. It's true. We're playing in it right now. I'm trying to view the world through Kim's eyes. And he views himself as a bald, big-nosed, troll-like fire gun shooting creature. Clockman. Okay, I'm gonna go work on my thing. Good luck, Addo. Have a good time. Hopefully we'll see you later. When you get your 25 levels done, you gotta let me know. You got some time. Each of these Johnny games seem to be getting longer and more varied, so... Okay, we're passing them. Get me out of here. Alright. I don't feel this clawing need to want to escape these horrible games. It's not as pressing as it was initially. And I think that's because it's very forgiving with the save and load system that Kim has in here. Because I can sort of take it at my own pace, right? It's not... At the end of the day, even if I lose, the only thing I'm losing is time. Which was pretty bad for the soft locking, because you just never knew when... Kim was like more of an agent of chaos in that game. You never knew if the thing you were doing was going to result in the game locking up. And so that lack of telegraph was very frustrating to play through. But this game, I know the saving's going to work. And I know the saving's going to work because Kim didn't program it. Because GameMaker has built-in saving. And I think that's what he's using. Because I can't read the save files. They're not like JSON or anything. They seem like encrypted. So I don't have to trust Kim with that. I can trust GameMaker. I can trust Mark Overmars, or however you say his name, instead. So... It's also interesting to think about all the different actions that had to take place to make game creation so accessible that some random Norwegian man can subject me 20 years later to whatever the hell this is. A big butterfly effect. If you're worried about your life having significance, remember again that anything you create could potentially live in posterity and be stream content for some random guy in Michigan 20 years in the future. Just keep that in mind. Even the worst shit. Man, these banana creatures are much more active than they were in previous games, and they want to worm around and get under my skin. But I won't let them. I'm starting to see some variance in AI too. We have some sentry-like things that don't quite move. We have some things that seem to threaten you. We have robots. A lot of robots in these games. A lot of different battles of man versus technology theme. Sometimes it's you know, perhaps Johnny has everything. You know, it's got man versus himself. It's got maybe man versus nature. There's definitely man versus technology. We also have the we can't hit the top edge of the screen anymore thing, for those of you wondering why I'm not jumping. Because if we jumped and hit the top of the screen, we die. Okay, this guy is just kind of lounging down there. I think I can... Oh, okay, that scared me a little bit. I jumped and then killed myself. As you do in these games. Jumping is both a resource and something that threatens the fabric of Johnny's existence. Okay, we gotta shoot down, block some of these bullets, pray this guy doesn't kill us before we kill him. I'm taking a lot of damage. Okay. Yeah, I gotta kill his friend now. I can't duck. I can't do anything but shoot. Nice. And he's got a friend. Brought him out of the party. These guys are just lounging around down here, and I'm sick of it. Been trying to get sleep for weeks. They just keep screaming. Endless screaming. It never ends. Smiling. Having a good time. In my basement. On my fuchsia-colored carpet floors. The bullets are a representation of their vocals that keep me up. That's what's happening. Interesting to notice we've sort of downgraded a little bit in enemies because the enemies in previous games were all animated. Interesting choice for this one. I mean, their death animation is them getting smaller. That's kind of interesting, but they don't have any of the fun animations of them walking or anything. All the levels are also pretty standard. They're go right, which is interesting. Got some platforming here and there. These ghost guys seem like they want my ass. I'm taking them out. I'm sending them to the shadow realm of the upper left quadrant. I believe that's the first quadrant for any math fans out there. Also, the clock is slightly skewed in that it does have all 12 numbers on it, but they're in slightly different places. Perhaps time itself is distorted for Kim, and he's trying to deal with it. Okay, we gotta cook over here. I don't know how I want to tackle the fact that we have a tower in our way. We have this building that both protects the enemies from us and sort of lets them build up their own little barricaded shooting array. And we also can't go too high either. Okay, I think I can skirt in here. Gotta get good. Can't hit up. You have to hit right before you hit up, which is different from the previous games, to ensure our bullets hit. Okay, I'm gonna keep pre-firing. Yep, I knew there's another one. Where there's one, there's many. Okay, we gotta... Okay, I don't really like how this feels. I feel too close up here. Okay, more robots. I'm cool with these guys. They sort of hop around, but they seem less menacing. Alright, put me in, coach. Put me in. Okay, first boss. And there's a barricade right there. Can bullets shoot enemies off screen, or do they despawn? Bullets can shoot enemies off screen. The bullets always exist. If you fired them, they do exist. I don't know. I don't think they go too far off screen, but like if the level continues, then they do. It does. I can pre-fire and sort of kill them. I don't know what the intention is here. This wall is in my way, but the enemy is also shaped as if to allow space for my nose. Seems the enemy has got stuck in a wall and will now perish because of it. It's over for this guy. You can't see it, but I'm shooting thousands of bullets at him. There we go. Off screen, the enemy is dying, just so you know. I had to explain. You've become accustomed to Johnny gameplay that experiences like that would drive someone away is welcomed openly by me. Yes, I've been living in this world for a little bit while now, and I kind of have become familiar with it. No longer is it as oppressive and unfun. Also, I kind of gotten used to the movement. It's really janky. Each game slightly does something different for movement. Like, in one of the games that I didn't really like the movement for, it was really weird. It was, you could run left and jump, but you couldn't run right and jump. You weren't allowed to run right and jump. You could jump and then move right, but you couldn't run and then jump. So it was like weird. It was like everything that was facing to your right had like an advantage on you, but you could always retreat. It was like fleeing was an option. It was kind of strange. Also note how Kim does design a considerable amount of these enemies like in a fashion that allows you to like meet them nose first. Like there are some enemies that he will put like really close to you, but based on their shape and their design, it's almost like they're form-fitted to allow Johnny to sort of come up against them. They're pretty bizarre. So I've gotten quite used to this bullet directional bullshit. It's like the last direction you hit is like where the bullet goes. Is kind of what we have here. So I'm not a fan of the Johnny series. You know, it's interesting because you said that you liked the Johnny series earlier. What changed it for you? You don't like the Johnny series now? You said that I believe the word you used was that they, I don't want to say, what was the word you used? You used a very specific word to describe the series. It was like a week ago. You said they had charm. Do you feel like you've lost that charm now? Do you feel like you understand too much of Kim? Do you feel like it's too chaotic and unnerving to deal with this weird reality that he's created? I want to hear your thoughts, Fuzzy. Which is kind of funny, because I said I really didn't like him to start with, but then I've grown quite fond of him playing them. So from a viewer perspective, I wonder if that's similar. Okay, I think we have to do some weird shit where we gotta... Yeah, okay. Because we can't go too high, remember. If we go too high, if we get too high, we die. Okay, I'm gonna assume... Yep, okay, we did that. Whoops. I one-shot that, man. Master of climbing. It's a puzzle boss, first try. Genre-defining, original-like, yes. I don't think I've ever seen your name before. Eneverina. Let me know if that's how it's pronounced. How's your day going? How are you doing? It is a genre-defying gameplay. We have everything here. It's a puzzle boss. All you had to do was get his feet stuck in the corner, and then he perished. Notice how I don't trust anything to the right side of the screen, and I am just spraying and praying. Time itself will bend its will to me. If I had seen this before your Johnny journey, I would have never given it a second look. But you've turned the Johnny series into something that is much more than what it is, or rather, what many would consider it to be. Oh, thank you, Brent. I really do appreciate that. I have enjoyed going through the Johnny journey, and I've in my own approach to grow fond of it, I found a way to appreciate it for what it is. And it's also given me a lot of gameplay design ideas. The only thing I'm disappointed about is I'm disappointed that Kim, didn't have a longer life. He was very prolific in everything he did. I would have loved to have seen, Kim in a post 9/11, post COVID, AI-driven world like we're getting to now, where some of the more difficult programming aspects of like learning programming and these games are in like 2007. I think we're in 2007 now. So I would have really liked to have seen, he's already exploring the two-dimensional design space of GameMaker quite considerably here, playing with the boundaries, creating new stuff, sort of exhausting it to the extent that he can with the skills that he has. But I would have really liked to have seen what he would have been capable of had he had more time. But who's to say he would even be still making games? These retain a childlike quality to them and their playfulness that I hope to embody in my own work. So, got some new enemies here. They seem to have just suied themselves, committed Sudoku. They don't want to be visible for too long, which is why their face is fragmented. And so they find their way off the edge of the map, out of my way. An obstacle for another Johnny, but not me. The enemies themselves don't even want to be in the game anymore. They want to just leap away. Sometimes you get stuck on the geometry, though. Oop. Okay, I tried to use the back of my bald head to sort of clamber onto that scaffolding, but it didn't spare me. See, they groan in agony, but it's actually a groan of relief for me taking them out. Okay, this seems like a pretty good position. I seem to be taking a little bit of damage, but hopefully we can... I guess it's interesting, too, to think about it, because Johnny's had the ability to shrink, but now the enemies have the ability to shrink away, but only when they die. That's interesting thought there. Ooh. We have monopedal men. Single feet. A foot and a head. The design space is increasing. They also shoot triangles instead of rectangles. We have variety here. The spice of life. One of the Johnny games was called Johnny with some sugar and spice. This one is, it truly is that. I think I can just hit their toes. These guys have vulnerable gamer toes. Now, I'm going to take advantage of that. Nice, I killed him before he got to me. Sucks to suck. Alright, we gotta get lucky. Some of the Johnny games are about lucky spawns. There we go. Oh. Kim really likes his variety, so we have a little bit of everything. You'll notice the foundationally sturdy 1-foot man is protecting the fragmented and disguised, not wanting to be seen, stained glass enemy we have here. These friendly robots. They strafe back and forth endlessly. Everything strafing, constantly oscillating. The rhythm of life in the Johnny games. As I pummel them with lead. Alright, let me catch up here. Ads have started. Yes, there are ads. If you don't want to watch ads, you can watch this on YouTube. We're also live streaming there. You got options. Just like I got. Well, I don't have options. I got 36 Johnny games to get through. I'm stuck in it. I did talk about variety is the spice of life, and it is here. Kim's just giving me time to drink some coffee. You gotta take what battles you can win, man. That's all you do. Adapt and overcome. That's what it is. Sometimes you have no control and you gotta accept that. Kim's trying to teach that to us. Each game at a time. Some games we have autonomy, some we don't. Some we have control. Others, the game is completely outside of our locus of control. And we have to stoically accept that. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to cope with his own life, but in doing so, he's teaching it through Game Maker for us in 2007. Beautiful art. So if you're watching this, whoever you are in the future, this is your proverbial call to action to make a Johnny game and put it on Steam so that we can pay you for your endeavor to descend into your own psyche to exhaust the two-dimensional game space of people with big noses and shrinking abilities. That's right. I'm taking this guy at my own patient, leisurely pace before sending him to the shadow realm of the first quadrant. A banana guy, my most hated enemy. Perfectly in the way to die. I feel like now, if a kid, this is like a, I don't think this is an example of reality, but it's just a funny tangent to go on. I feel like now, so like when I was a kid, when I was in school, I think I was in 5th grade, I had this thing where I did like a newspaper where I would like draw stuff and do like a fake news story with like creatures and monsters and stuff, and I would tape it to the side of my desk, and each news story I would like tape more and more onto my desk. These American schools, they let you do a lot of weird stuff. Our creativity was boundless, much like Kim's is here. And my friend did the same thing, but his were a little bit more violent. His had blood, his had like more guns. My guns were more theoretical and alien-like. They didn't quite look like guns. They were just facsimiles of a gun. But his had blood and gore and guts and stuff like that. And we got called into the principal's office to go through it, and he's like, yeah, you can't show that kind of stuff. It's too violent. It's too gory. I feel like now, if like a kid like was doing this sort of stuff and made like 36 games called Johnny where he's got a gun and like each game has like varying amounts of agency and like violence and like weird moaning creatures that you shoot down with like thousands of bullets, like you would get called into the principal's office, you get like suspended, you would get like you would be the weirdest kid in school. There would be like some kind of like committee that would like debate whether or not you need like counseling or therapy provided by the school to like work through these problems that you're having, rather than just like letting art be art, sort of like. I feel like kids would be shunned away from doing something as magnificent as making 36 shitty Game Maker games. I don't know if that's the reality of the situation, but it is funny to imagine a scenario where like some kid is very prolific. They're artistically inclined. They're doing a bunch of stuff. They're playing with the design space. They're exploring video games in that way. And all for the adults to sort of look at them with their scrutinizing eye and be like, I don't know if this is healthy. Like they impress upon them, their own thou shalts of like how society needs to work. There's the ever curbing, the ever filing down of a person's teeth and personality and authenticity here. And that I do feel that's something the world does unfairly do, unjustly. Try to bring everyone to the lowest common denominator, an ever diluting of the great fraction of unique qualities that we bring to the table. God forbid somebody makes a game where they have a big nose that isn't anti-Semitic, using a gun to shoot a bunch of bullets that isn't a metaphor for school shooting, that can shrink and get bigger, that isn't well, that remains to be seen. I was going to make a joke about it being potentially Vor and Giantess related, but we don't know. The jury's still out on that one. We haven't figured out if there's some... I believe Noli said that game 34, the final boss, is not safe for work. So I'm gonna retain my opinions for now before we get to Johnny 34 and we see what that looks like. Okay, how do we kill this guy? This is an interesting... In the past, I feel like we've had bosses where we've had to fight the boss, and all of the platforms have been like to our advantage. But in this one, it feels like, okay, never mind. He got stuck. He got his foot stuck. He stubbed his toe. He's sort of having a moment, and I'm just gonna gun him down. I'm gonna take what I can and just give it all to him, one by one. Oh, there's still more. Okay, here we go. Is the guns cause violence meme still a thing today, or was that only in the 2000s? I haven't been a child in a while. I don't know. I think it depends on your circle, or should I say like your corner of the internet. Cause like, so I have family members that work in schools, and they still seem like they're concerned about it. I haven't been in school since, I graduated high school in 2014, so it's been about 11 years for me. Sometimes I feel like you sort of just slip into the zeitgeist of like some political talking point, but it's hard to tell if that's actually reality, right? Like conservatives or liberals are concerned about guns, but they've always been concerned about guns. They don't want people to have guns. God forbid people have more agency and autonomy to use guns, right? That's a threat to the very fabric of society. People being able to like at any point go, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to Walmart to pick up a pack of ammo. Like, that's... Obviously, they would have a problem with that because it's not, it's not the government being like, I think we should allow people to be able to buy over-the-counter medications, like, whatever it is, whatever stupid thing. It's kind of like a fundamental difference of like, well, do we want to let people make decisions and fuck around and find out, or do we want to, have the government play our parent, our proxy parent? And I think a lot of people... At least now, I do see more of the overprotective parenting stuff. It doesn't mean the parents are more involved, but it does mean that they try to protect them more, or they want like government or authorities to protect their children more from seeing things in different ways. So there is coddling, I think, but I don't know if it's like, Jonathan Haidt level coddling of the American mind. I think he is right about unsupervised play being important for children, and we need less authority in children's lives in different ways like that. But as far as like, is the school shooter thing a thing? I don't know. They seem to blow it up in the media whenever there is a school shooter, so it's hard to say what is like, without looking at the stats. Like, is this something that's consistently a problem? Mental health is a problem. I can see that. I can see people getting more atomized and more radical in different ways from just whatever they perceive on the internet, but that's also kind of, it's a give and take, right? It is a give and take, like how much of parenting should and the internet feels less varied than it was years ago, so we also are dealing with that too. You have to struggle a little bit harder to find some of the authentic voices of people doing things that aren't just the most common thing. I mean, you have pages like NeoCities that's bringing back like user-driven web pages and content like that, but that stuff's not really safe, I guess, for children to veer onto. I mean, somebody could say anything on there, so who knows what your kid could get into. So a lot of people sort of deal with, I forget what they call it, the corporate internet, like the common internet or something. There's some weird images back here. I don't like this hair image. It's kind of eerie and weird looking. It's bizarre. I don't know if I like that. I think people of older generations are less accepting of youth embracing creativity in game dev. These days, if I had a kid who said he wanted to create video games, I'd be a lot more accepting of this. Yeah. Now, do you think you would be more accepting or less accepting having known that they created something like the Johnny series? Would you be concerned as a parent? I want to know that. That's a very curious question. If your kid made this, 36 Johnny games, I mean, obviously it would be impressive. That would probably be my first reaction. But would it be like, you know, like, we should get him a therapist to talk to or something like that? Maybe we need, you know, like, what is the edge there? Oops, I meant guns in video games. But yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah. The gun, you know, I would say that given a month ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have agreed with you, like, yeah, violence in video games, that old tired topic of like, well, video games make you more violent. I just read a study the other day that was like, Dungeons and Dragons makes people more calmer, which is funny because the study from my brief, I haven't looked at the whole article yet, I haven't read the whole thing, but it basically talks about how the escapism of fantasy is like what allows people to sort of tolerate reality more, which is hilarious to me because it's like, isn't that indicative not that Dungeons and Dragons makes people more calmer, but that people are calmer in a reality that doesn't exist because fantasizing is much better than the reality we have now? Like, isn't that kind of what the study shows? It doesn't show that Dungeons and Dragons makes you less anxious. It just shows that the real world is kind of oppressive, and video games and escapism are becoming the way that people use to cope with the reality. It isn't about, like, you know, making a better reality. It's like, it's weird. It was a weird article. I have to read more of it. My opinion may change on this, so subject to change, but I was like, oh, this is a positive story about Dungeons and Dragons making a change in people's lives. And then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, wait a minute. I don't know how I feel about that. Why am I even trying to kill this guy? Just to kill. See, I've gotten so used to blood on my hands as a Johnny player. I want to hear everything groan and moan as I send it to the shadow realm of the first quadrant. Oh! He stomped on me, dude. I was not ready for it. My mother never let me play games with guns in them. Interesting. Lol, yeah, it's more like reality makes you homicidal. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, oh, it's kind of frustrating that groceries cost so much. It's so frustrating that I might go pay for my groceries with a little bit of lead soon. Like, you know, that, like, it's that kind of thing. I think people are fighting the wrong battle, generally. It's never like the video game is like, yeah. And there was obviously more and more studies coming out. Oh, the reason I said 3 weeks ago I would have agreed with you about the guns is violence thing. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's a constantly moving train. The conductors are ever changing. They have different colors. Sometimes they're played by a guy named Johnny that has a big nose. You know, whatever. It's off. We're off the rails here. We're going off road. I got some tracks on my trains. They're not hauling anything anymore. But the reason I was going to say a few weeks ago I would have agreed with you that the guns and violence argument is tired and old and nobody really cares about it anymore. It changed because in Australia, Brent, this is part of your problem. I need you to start sending some letters. That I saw that some of that games media, and I really don't follow up with news that much, but I was following some of the story of that activist mothers group that is like removing games from Steam because they're petitioning payment processors and like sending letters of whatever rage and I don't know, whatever they're sending to the MasterCard and Visa and stuff about like that. They're complaining that the games are bad and have themes that they don't want to see. With sometimes they're pornographic, sometimes it's just violence, whatever it is. But they it's like Collective Shout is the group or whatever. But they're basically still using the same tired argument of like, okay, well, you know, there's violence in these games and that's a problem, or oh, there's like incest in these games, that's a problem. People are going to do that if they see it in like fictional form, sort of thing, which it's pretty silly. It's also silly that they payment processors sort of bow down to that. I find that really annoying, because it's like just payment processors shouldn't be political. They should just be a payment processor. They just handle money. Why can't they be apolitical? That should be like a legal thing. And that's something I really like about Steam, is that Steam is, and you know, it's kind of funny. I guess Steam is political in its own way, but Steam is politically apolitical. It's very libertarian. It's like, we'll let anything on there. You're just gonna, if you don't like it, then just don't buy it, basically. Like, you know, pay with your money. We're just gonna host everything, let people say what they want. Like, if your country has laws against it, like Germany doesn't like any of the symbols, and things like that, like it prevents it. They're like, okay, whatever, we'll mark it. You can't market it in Germany. Fine, we'll obey the laws, whatever they are. But if it's free speech, we'll just let people do it. I think that's how it should be. But anyways, I read some of these books from, I believe one of the main, I was skimming through the book from Collective Shout, the leader, Melinda. I think she's like 60 years old or something, some old woman. She wrote this book about, it was like basically a bunch of anecdotal stories about how women, like, their marriage suffered because their husband watched pornography or something. And it was just kind of like, it was funny, you know, because I mean, I feel bad because it's like, okay, well, that sucks that your marriage failed and it wasn't what you expected. But like some of the times the guy, like, it just feels like old Puritanism, basically. Like they're just trying to reshape Puritanism in another way. Like we just didn't have enough of that. And then Melinda's like, we need more Puritanism. Like, it's ruining our marriage. It's like, I don't know if it's necessarily ruining your marriage. I think it's more so that, like, you know, these guys or these people are using this as, like, a coping mechanism, and this is, like, one aspect of a marriage. Sure, this is, like, one thing. Like, perhaps, you know, there's a lack of intimacy there, or perhaps, you know, you guys have communication issues, and, like, you know, some of the cases of their partners, like, lying to them about, you know, if they're pretty stalwart and unforgiving about this sort of stuff. But it just, a lot of it was just weird. I don't know how to describe it. I'm faffing about here. I'm like a fish out of water. I had an opinion on it, but it just confuses me the more I think about it, I think is the best way to put it. But some of the most telling aspects of the book that I thought were really funny is that the therapists themselves, like, of these women, and they like, some of them went to, like, couples counseling, and they, like, talked. And they had some great points about how, like, yeah, if your husband lies to you, then he's not giving you an active choice to decide whether or not you want to date him based on, like, what your preferences are. And that's something that people shouldn't rob of other people, especially if you're going to be in a relationship and get married. But the funny thing I thought, too, was, like, a lot of the therapists were like, dude, the porn isn't really a problem. There's, like, a bunch of other problems here. And the women are like, no, I think it's the porn, basically, every time. So, and then there was a couple other books that were like religious related stuff. So Brent, if you could walk over to their shop and talk to them and sort of like, you know, tell them like, you know, this is America, like this SEAM is in America, and, you know, that maybe explain free speech to them, and, you know, like people are allowed to sell whatever they want. If you don't like it, then just don't buy it, sort of thing. Or maybe curate like a Steam list or something for people to make active choices about things like that. Like maybe do some research, like, you know, something like that. Just go hit them up. You don't gotta be mean or anything to them. I think they just have different opinions, but I don't think they don't know how to let things lie. I think that's the problem. Perhaps their form of activism is, you know, they're creating the better world that we talk about here when we talk about the Johnny games here. Perhaps that is their form of believing, and you know, I'm not sure. I just feel like there's too much antagonism for humanity exploring escapism in different ways that is, it's kind of silly. But then again, I like Kim here, don't like sacred cows, so I hate sacred cows. Those are some of my long-winded opinions on that. Yeah. Thanks, Kim, for making killing feel more rewarding. Yeah, thanks, Kim. I know I went on a diatribe. I heard about that. I don't know why they have so much power. I don't even think it's that they have so much power. I think it's just that, like, people are letting them have power, sort of thing. But I know there's a pendulum switch It's always like, I'm not very involved in politics. I used to be a lot more involved in it. I've vacillated between hard left, hard right, and now I'm kind of just like middle. Now I sort of believe now that everything is just feeding two heads of the same eagle, right? It's an eagle with one stomach. It doesn't really matter what you believe. It's hard to believe you really have much say or change in the whole thing. If you want to enact change, I think it needs to be done on a local level, in your local government, not on like wide scale national level. Like I don't think generally people have a lot of power in those forms or fashion. But I also see a sort of pointlessness to it, and because I do feel that there's a pendulum switch. There was this like, and I'm not we don't need to get into the political topics here. I guess it doesn't really matter. Johnny is about metaphysical game design type stuff. But there were Christian iconography in the previous games, so that's kind of why I'm thinking about some of the stuff when I play them. And I also don't like censorship, but I do feel like it switches back and forth. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes, people want this, sometimes we want to go back to this. It'll always flip. I don't quite know. I don't have my pulse, my finger on the pulse of what's happening now. But I just found it annoying. So if you could go over there, take a quick day trip. I don't know where they're at. They're obviously near you. Australia is an island. It can't be that big. That's me being facetious. I know it's huge, but still, if you could just, take a nice leisurely walk over there and knock on their door, that'd be cool. Like, they all live next to each other. They're all just... Oh, dude, I got hit by the last enemy. Son of a bitch. I thought I was going to get it. But Australia is weirdly authoritarian about some things I've heard. Yeah, I thought that was really bizarre too, because like they're so close to Japan, and Japan has some of the weirdest, kinkiest stuff in it of all time, right? And then I was also thinking like, from my knowledge of the history of Australia, these are like a bunch of people that committed crimes and then like were banished by the British Empire to like this island because they didn't want to deal with them, and then they ended up creating a culture. So I figure like hereditarily, a lot of people from Australia are generally going to be, they're it's not to say that you're always going to be like hereditarily the criminal activities aren't going to be passed down, but I did expect a lot more like, sort of grit or something. I expected more teeth. But then they gave up their gun rights, and I was like, I don't know about that, dude. That's a little weird. And then, yeah, they are weirdly authoritarian. Brent, obviously correct me if you're wrong. I don't know what life is like for you, so give me your 2 cents on it if you're still here. I am curious. From the media that I get, the news that talks about Australia, a lot of it does seem vaguely and weirdly authoritarian. It seems like the government is playing a bigger role in people's lives than it previously did, and I find that really weird from the crime colony from the British Empire. It seems like there should be some sort of, opposite reaction. I feel like it should be even more open and free. There should be nothing, no speech laws, no, like, that's what it should be lawless land with thousands of emus and rabbits that are just free to kill because they keep breeding endlessly, and the government can't do anything about it but pay people to take them out. That's my vision for Australia. Let me know if we can reconcile our visions together. Perhaps I can draft up some legislation and wingdings for you guys. This game is really peaceful, dude. I'm having a good time. I haven't come up against an obstacle. I haven't, like, nothing that too challenging. Even though we lost some of our agency from the previous game, we lost some of our cool abilities, we lost our nose extension and our shrink power. It's actually pretty pleasant to play for what it is, so... Governments are comprised of older people who have no understanding of video games and also don't seem to care about the freedoms of people. I have a feeling I would have better luck convincing a brick wall to change its mind. The nation was created by opportunists, and it's become a nation of censorship and weakness. I can't wait to watch all 16 Johnnies today. Log in. Welcome, Drew. Yeah, I do agree with you, Brent. The way I kind of view it, like, because you notice there is like that oscillation between like a back and forth sort of thing, and I feel that it is like, okay, so I was thinking about this the other day, right? And I was thinking about, like, I was thinking about the topic of racism. I know it's like a heavy topic, but for my book club, we read White Fragility, and so like that book was terrible because it's just a circular argument. Basically, it's like, oh well, white people are fragile and don't want to talk about stuff, but whenever they have criticism, it's because they're fragile. Whatever. It was a stupid book. I thought it was kind of dumb because it was circular. But what I did take from it is I do agree that there is the nuance of like, yeah, there are systems of power that can affect disproportionately like different races and stuff. Anyways, all of this is a backdrop to race has been a prevalent topic. It's been a topic in our book club. It's a topic of America. Obviously, it's always it's the ever-giving Christmas tree of race, right? Because we're the giant melting pot of the world. And I was thinking about like, because I went to this, so I've been doing dog sitting, and I got prepaid for some of the dog sitting stuff, and I went to go get gas, and a lot of the gas stations are run by people of different complexion here, at least where I live, and so I had remembered counting like I'd gotten like $120 for doing stuff, and I put in 40 for gas, but then when I checked my wallet, there wasn't the required amount of money left. So I was like, that's strange. Like perhaps I accidentally gave an extra bill. And then I went in and I was like, hey, did I give you an extra bill? Cause like I should have more money in my wallet. I thought I had this. And the guy was like, no. I always double check. I never have a problem with it. And so I say all of this to say is that like, it was a slightly negative experience because I could have recalled that I had correctly counted, but I didn't know for sure. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to let it lie. If I lose $20, I lose $20, whatever. And then I thought about it more and I was like, it's the little things that the little negative experiences that people have with other people, and then they just sort of boil it down. That's like what makes somebody racist, right? It's like they build up a set of rules in their head and they blame it on that this is like a different culture, a different person, rather than just, it's the small things. That's what makes somebody racist. Like it's like, it's like you associate, like this person that I am unfamiliar with, this person that I don't understand their culture for, or something like that. It's like they're talking on their phone loudly and that bothers me. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm going to associate this with that entire race of people. It's like the brain wants to be lazy and like always sort of like create a reason or pattern or expectation based on how many like different people you've interacted with, and that's like what sort of forms like even if it's not a conscious racism, like an unconscious racism. I know it's a heavy topic, but I was thinking like it's the small things, right? It's when you're not conscious of it, when you're just like you're dealing with something and you're like, oh well, I remembered noticing this aspect about this person, and I've sort of used that to stereotype. That's where we get stereotypes, right? Because people like assume there's like a pattern of like a lot of people do this particular thing, and so it becomes this pattern and a stereotype, and then we associate it with different races, sometimes cultures, things like that. So that was my little take on that. No, I don't think the gas station attendant stole my $20. If he did, cool, that's good for him. I think I just miscounted. That seems more likely. I'm not gonna, then that's the problem, right? You have that, what is it, Occam's razor? Am I using the right thing? Is like, don't attribute malice to that which can be attributed to ignorance. I think I ignorantly miscounted. I'm going to assume better. But I did think that was funny, that my brain supplied me with that. It's the little things. It's the little things that make you racist. That's what it is. Pretty funny thought. So... But yes, Drew, we're not going to play 16 more Johnnies today, but I do have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of Johnny content that you can watch right here if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch. I am streaming on both. If you watch on YouTube, you don't have to deal with ads, so you don't have to be as supportive as you are if you don't want to be. I'm giving you the option. You can, and then you can also go back in time on YouTube, which is a pretty cool feature. Figures Twitch, a streaming platform, would have more of that capability, but evidently they don't find it that important. So we've kind of delved into a lot of topics today. I'm showing more. I'm being more vulnerable as we play through more Johnny games and sort of peeling back the layers of the facade and persona that I have here. And I think that's just kind of what Johnny wants to do, This enemy is weird, but it actually feels like a boss that has strategy. I feel like I have to react to what he's doing, if that makes sense. None of the bosses, some of them just get stuck. I thought he just got stuck. I was gonna laugh my ass off. Did he just get stuck? Is it okay? He's not stuck. He's just not shooting me. Okay. Okay, he's not. He's lost his. He forgot how to shoot. It's okay. It happens to us, man. Sometimes we forget that. He knows how to move. He just doesn't know how to shoot. But this boss feels pretty good. It feels like a design. It feels like it has intention. Even though it broke, the boss is broken. Okay, we beat Johnny. I am attuned to Johnny. I am so into Johnny right now. People being ESL and not understanding me makes me racist. Being ESL. What does ESL stand for again? But what if there is a pattern? Yeah. Drew trying to defend racism here. Oh my God. You know what, Drew? I don't agree with your line of reasoning, but I do appreciate that you're asking questions. That's good for you. Prime Johnny content. The DVD is coming in 2026. Well done. English? Oh, English second language. Got you. So you said people that don't, not understanding you. Yeah, I get that. 13? I don't know what that number is. But anyways, we beat another Johnny. These have been really pleasant, so I'm going to continue. So we did 19. We did 20. My score is 554 for those of you playing at home, obviously. I know Noli was playing along with me. I'm sure we have some people. If you're at home right now and you haven't played along with us, then I'd like you to take the time to download the games and play along with us. This is a play along session. We had our Norwegian folk tales in the beginning of this. This episode has been a lot of heavy topics of everything. I honestly, I might have to make the thing 18 plus. We talk about a lot of stuff here. Yesterday, we talked about predeterminism versus determinism, whether we have free will or whether it's all predestined. So there's a lot of deep topics that Johnny has given us. Okay, so sorry. This is 19. This is the first one, sorry. I thought we already did 2. We did 19, now we do 20, and we're going to keep going. We're going to see how it goes. Good job. We're here. GZ. Here we go. Let's continue. Another Johnny. Johnny 12. Magic with 2 Ks. I know we were just talking about racism, but it's only 2 Ks, guys. Remember, 2 Ks. Don't get crazy. So wait, we have a What does that say? Memoriam? What the hell is going on with this? I thought I had this set up. I thought I was set up. Okay, so first thing, we have new game, load game, help and credits. Let's look at the credits. Okay, so instead of F1, we have this. So, hello. Sorry I'm late. At least I can do Johnny 20, my favorite. Dude, speak of the devil. I was just talking about you playing along at home. I'm glad you're here. Johnny 12 begins to shake violently. Here we go. So first we're going to, I'll give you a minute to set up. We're going to read through the menus. I see there's a memoriam too. Hopefully that's some lore. If not, I'm going to be disappointed. Johnny 19 did not have lore. So we have, again, our controls, arrows to steer and aim. Notice how it's always steer, never move. We have control as shoot, enter to restart level, progress through menus, escape to quit, manage through all levels. I think so in previous games he said that all levels are beatable. Perhaps again, the design in this game is a little wackier, so he wants to let us know that you can manage through all the levels. You can beat all the levels. We're in 2008 now. We have Kim going by 3 different names, Mr. Kubus, Kimberly Kubus, and his real name, Kim Okkerstrom. Let's look at the memoriam. Ooh, the Johnny games. So these are all the games thus far. So, some of them, they seem out of order. Yeah, because this is like the second one, or third one right here. This is the third one. Yeah, we got some interesting images from each of them. It doesn't seem to, I was wondering if there's like some kind of secret thing, but it looks like they're just close-ups of some of the stuff. We get to see all the Johnny games. So we have 3, 6, yeah, we got all of them, 14 here. Okay. And we can get back here. Maybe I can do 1 Johnny a day because school starts the 1st of September. That would actually be really good. You could do that 1 a day. Wait for me. I'll write when I'm ready. Okay, we're just going to yap for a minute while you get ready. I think the games get harder later in the series. Really. I don't know if they get harder. I think my favorite so far has been it's a toss up, man. I really like 4 is just great. I like the games where Johnny has agency, where you have the ability to shrink and grow your nose. Those are my favorite. I believe I said, is it Johnny? Here, let me, while we're waiting for Noli to play along with us, I do want to go over and talk about some of the Johnny stuff. So Johnny 18 actually gave us back some of the stuff I really like, the sugar and spice. And I really like that about it. So in this Johnny, it has a weird movement, but you can make your nose long, which you can use as like a grappling thing. And then you also have the shrink ability, which is a staple of the series that I love. And it allows you to avoid shots, but you can't shoot when you're shrunk. And then we obviously have the shooting mechanic in this game. And I like that about it. This one had a lot of variety. It did have the sugar and spice, if you will. The enemies have death animations, things like that. I also really like, I think Johnny 9 is like really good because it's a great long length. It also has all the mechanics that I like as well in it. So we have the lengthening of the nose, we have the shrinking, and then we have obviously your shoot. But I felt like this game was a good length and it was relatively playable. Something I do miss though, I really loved in Johnny 8 that the enemies had more telegraph for when they were being killed. That's what I appreciated quite considerably about Johnny 8. I absolutely adore that the bats bloody themselves and their wings like fly away and like get destroyed. I feel like I'm actually in the world, I'm existing in it. I'm like, things are taking damage. It feels like I'm an active player in the world, even if it is crazy and horrible and, you know, it doesn't work half the time. I really love that about that. I think the game I liked the least, I really dislike Johnny 6 because there's a lot of soft locking because of the annoying mechanics of it. Like if you do have the ability to turn small, but because the level border is down here, if you like sometimes click too fast, or like if you're in the middle of shape shifting into a smaller version of yourself, like you can sometimes get soft locked. And this game doesn't have saving. Saving doesn't enter in until like after Johnny 6. I believe Johnny 7 may be the first one that has saving. And it gets a lot easier from there because all your progress is saved. Yep, he actually added in saving, which is a default Game Maker thing. He just didn't have it in there. And I also really hate Johnny 11. I dislike Johnny 11 because in Johnny 11, he plays around with the idea of the leveling system of like how to beat a level, and it's really annoying. I believe in this game, the strat is just to pray for these guys to go in the direction you want them to. But for example, this level, this is the first level of the game, and it is super annoying, right? Because there are just invisible triggers. So like your goal in this one, you think would be like to get over here, but if you just reset, and then like your goal, you have to like hit this trigger and then go left, and that's how you beat the level. Like it's just weird shit. Like there's hidden triggers, the enemies are annoying. You don't really know what's happening. It's like it's, oh sorry, you can't even see it. My bad. Let me show this again. Johnny 11 is like weird. Let me pull this out. I want you to see this. You got to see what's happening here. So look at, we have Johnny. You have your things. This game, for whatever reason, isn't square too. It's the oddball out, the runt of the children in the titular title series that is Johnny. All right. Luckily, we do have the ability to block bullets with our bullet. That's something that is graceful about this game. But so, like in this one, you have to hit this arbitrary trigger, and then you have to go left. But like the trigger is, it's like in this bin here. Like, and I spent like 30 to 40 minutes like sitting there on this level. I had to look it up. I had to look up Saint beating it to figure out how to beat the level. And there's some other weird shit. Like if you hit this, you teleport over here, but then there's these annoying enemies that sort of find their way to kill you. It's awful. Absolutely terrible. Sorry if it took a long time. No, you're good. I'm going to write in chat while playing so you can take your time to read chat too. Okay. I thought the resize window was a part of the experience, lol. Yeah, no, sorry. Some of them are, most of the games are square. They're like a 4x3, or square 4x3, whatever it is. But for whatever reason, that game is widescreen. people in chat, you try to play Johnny along with us here. Thank you for posting that. What were they thinking? What were they thinking, dude? What were they thinking? All right, we're going to play Johnny 20. Let me make sure I fix the window for you. Yeah, okay. Johnny is the perfect game series for streaming because I can keep my chat to the left. I can keep my little face cam up there. It's got everything. All right. Without further ado, we have no lore. We have a little bit of credits and help. We're going to do what we can to beat Johnny 20. All right. On your mark. Get set. Here's Johnny. Okay, we have... Okay. This one feels kind of pleasant so far. I can walk off the map. I just wanted to see if I could. I'm curious now. I'm exploring in the Johnny world. So I can jump. I sort of have like a... I don't know how to describe it. When you change direction in air, you can kind of hover a little bit. There's some weird noises. Oh, these are like one-screen games. Interesting. Well, as my game is jump off the bridge, so and I always play one-screen type stuff, so it's a nice change of pace to see the 2D space have just one single screen and I can see all of it. I don't have to scroll. I'm gonna kill stuff because I like getting higher score. Number get bigger is my favorite thing. It looks like we still have the death zone on the top of the map, so we don't want to jump too high. Getting too high is a problem. It wasn't a problem in the early Johnny games, but it's a problem now. Perhaps Kim is trying to say something, or perhaps his super ego within himself is trying to say something about his highness. Okay, I probably should just beat the level, but I do like the big score, man. I want a big number. I want Kim to congratulate me. Something cool to do if you were to make a Johnny game, it would be cool. There have been a couple of secrets in some of these games, but it would be cool to see a different end screen or a different message, a good or bad ending based on whether or not you got a good score, a bad score, whether score itself is something that's good or bad. It's interesting thoughts. Okay, you can't jump there. Perhaps I just need to sort of walk over it. Also, do note that in previous Johnny games, we actually have had the ability to turn around, and Johnny could face different directions, but now he's stuck forward facing. It's like Johnny himself has decided that the only position he must go is this one. He can only face what he must progress through. The enemies aren't moving as wildly or as erratic as previous ones. Their movement still seems random, but it's not to a scale of erraticism that it has been before. The enemies feel tame and sort of simple-minded, numbing, if you will. Johnny also doesn't have arms and he doesn't have a gun, so all of the fire bullets that he would otherwise shoot are coming straight from his chakras, straight from his chest. Our nose is still big, though. We have not had a short Johnny nose game, and I wonder if that's intentional. Perhaps a key aspect to what makes Johnny is what is consistent between games rather than what is inconsistent between games. Because while we lose autonomy in some different aspects and we lose abilities and Johnny loses his hat of power and his sunglasses that I've never seen before, but what is consistent is he always has a big nose. He always has a shit-eating grin. He always has legs. He always has an eye. Sometimes it's off-center. Sometimes it's off of his body. Sometimes it's vaguely there, but implied. It's in the similarities and comparisons between games that we find the true answer for what these mean. Looks like I can avoid some enemies. I can fight others. We're sort of in this cityscape right now, I think. There's a lot of robots around that are threatening us. They're controlled from someone else. That's what you can tell by the antenna. They're not autonomous themselves, unlike some of the other enemies, like this cube with a smiling face on it. This one is speedrun by Noah. Oh, it was speedrun by Noah. Okay, I don't know who Noah is, but interesting. Let's go. I did notice his descent slow down after you jiggled. Yeah, he has a slow descent. Descent. Different emphasis. It is it's like he hops when he moves, so like you can This actually reminds me of a level I'm working on for Jump Off the Bridge, actually. And I don't think I got it from Johnny, but that's like a really weird parallel here now that I'm thinking about it. Should I show for reference? Nah, I don't need to show for reference. Let's focus on Johnny today. Let's enter the cave. Let's continue. The music is so good. I do hear it. It's good is maybe not a word I would use to describe it, but it is pleasant. It's pleasant right now. It doesn't sound crazy. None of the enemies have a whistle that trepanates into my skull to relieve the blood pressure that's building. So I do quite like it. It's like an ambient cave noises. Some beeps and boops. It's kind of synthy. I like these. I feel like I shouldn't be killing these guys because they're not attacking me, but I mean the happy people that sort of just stand there. I feel like I'm a bad person for doing it, but I know they'll kill me. I have trust issues now. After playing through so many of these games, I don't trust any of them anymore. Perhaps that's also a message from the game. Johnny is a game about being traumatized and trying to unlearn that trauma. I'm taking all the assumptions from the previous Johnny games into consideration with this Johnny game because I'm assuming that they're going to retain some significant elements between them. This guy has all spikes, though. I don't want to be hugged by him. He's a little dangerous. Some of the other enemies find their way off the map and we don't have to deal with them anymore, which is nice to see. I can't go too high, so we're just going to coax our way through here. I appreciate that Kim delineated the back leg, the left leg, as being a different color, as if he was playing with the idea of potentially shading the back leg. Or perhaps not. I don't know. My nose is just big enough here to where it's a problem. Oh, it looks like I can sort of do that. Notice again, this enemy is bigger than us, but it is still a right angle to kind of allow Johnny, vaguely, the ability to, oh wait, I can go off here. Let's use this to our advantage. Vaguely the ability to sort of make room for your nose. Nice. Okay, so we can shoot downward. But can we shoot downward enough? We can still block bullets. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh, that was almost bad. Will they jump up into it? I kind of want to get down there, but I don't know if I trust them enough. Okay, let's try to make our way back up. We've already went down. Can we make our... Yep, we can. Okay. I can fit in here. Sweet. Okay, hop over there. Nice. I got him on the corner. Now I can take my time. Pleasantly kill these guys while I catch up with chat. Christmas tree enemies and red candy bullets. I love the atmosphere. Oh, no more gun in Johnny 20. Yep, he's got no gun. Holding in order right then left at the same time to shoot higher works the best here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you're right, because I'm sort of... Oh, weird. Okay, that's an interesting tech. I was not expecting the sine wave, the descending sine wave, or whatever you want to call it. Bunny hop. I don't know what I want to name this technique. Rolling hills. That's what that is. This is an awesome technique. I love this. I'm a big fan of this. Hole in the brain, lost documentary. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Music is still pretty good. Beat the mini boss. He took mini too literally. Oh, interesting. We've all seen big bosses. I'm kind of excited if he is actually a mini boss. I see that there is some playfulness in Kim's repertoire here. I really like the one-screen nature of this game. It feels pretty good to see everything. It's like all the obstacles beforehand. Wow, this is the mini boss? That's amazing, dude. I love that. Does he like take one hit? Okay, no, that would have been really funny. This is hilarious, bro. But I was saying that it is interesting that in this game we can sort of see some of the things that are gonna... the obstacles and the enemies before they hit us. It isn't like we're blindly firing randomly. Oh, I thought he got stuck in a perfect place for us. Maybe this is the strat. Maybe he'll jump into it. Nice. The mini boss is pretty good. Agreed on the one screen. Well pointed out. Yeah, it's interesting. It makes me wonder if Kim, like, you know, he can sort of see a lot more of his enemies more, you know. They're not always coming off screen. They're not, and I don't know if that's going to be consistent between games or if this is a one-off, but perhaps here he can sort of handle psychically some of the things happening. But we lost our arms, so but we can still shoot even without our arms, which is interesting. Ooh, thumbtacks. An enemy that's distinctly something in the real world. They're not some surrealist take on something. It's just an actual thumbtack with a face on it. And these sentient jello cubes are jello rectangles. Also more robots being controlled, probably from some doctor or scientist in a distant area. I like that I can sort of get familiar with a map and that he's making it consistent for me to be like, okay, well, we're going to do this level with these guys, and then we're going to do another level again with the same geometry. Also, the thumbtacks shoot thumbtacks, which is very creative. I say that also sarcastically. It's like, yes, out of all the bullets a thumbtack can shoot, it's thumbtacks. It's literally cannibalizing itself to attack you. Interesting metaphor there. Very deep. The thumbtack itself is throwing its proverbial children in an attempt to attack you. It is a very devouring and wild mother. Very unforgiving. It uses its own children against you. Unique. Kim was like, oh, well, we need a platform. This one's a little too tall, so gotta add a platform there. It feels like sometimes, and this goes back to the design space. Also, a literal axe. We're fighting a literal axe here. Some of the design space feels like, okay, Kim sort of made something, and then he tried playing it, and he's like, oh, well, this map doesn't work. Like, this is ass. I gotta add a platform here. I was talking about yesterday about how some of the gameplay and design is like, Kim sort of makes stuff, he plays around in it like a sandbox, and then he iterates on top of it. It's never like, oh, I'm gonna make something and then I'm gonna go fix it, right? It's like, okay, what's done is done. You know, he sort of accepts the reality as it is. He made the art, and he's just gonna let it sort of be whatever it ends up being. And so he plays through it, and then he's like, okay, well, you can't jump up this. So, and it almost looks like he tried maybe making some kind of jump thing here, but then decided against it and just added a platform. He still wants you to beat the game. He wants them to be playable, but on his terms, you know? Oh. Kind of a precarious situation, but I wanted to make it work. Agreed on the one screen. Truly magical. Yeah, truly magical. I like the unpredictable AI of the enemies. I also do too. They feel chaotic and weird. I like that aspect of them though. You know, you can't trust them to... In the same way, you can't always know what somebody's going to do, right? So it is almost playing against your preconceived notion of like, hey, you learned something. It's like, no, each of these enemies are weird. They're different. They jump and turn and flit randomly like they're having a seizure sometimes. You don't know when they're going to shoot or where they're going to shoot. You just know that they're going to shoot and they're going to attack you, and touching them is evil. That remains consistent. Perhaps there's a lot of sharp things in this game though. We have thumbtacks, we have axes. They're green axes, but they look axe-like. They have a smile on them. Kim made Rule 34 game of the pink thumbtack character. Interesting. Very, very prolific of Kim. I wonder why. Maybe the vaguely skirt-like design of a thumbtack was really titillating to a toothless Kim at that point. I don't know. Hard to say. I really do appreciate the transparency of the thumbtack, though. That is quite rendered. Goofy looking, but rendered quite well. he does have some art skills in here somewhere. Most games wouldn't do something like this because it often screws you over because of RNG. Yeah, that is also true. And you know, there's a debate to be said about like what is fun, right? I think oftentimes RNG can be unfun. I mean, obviously, when you make a game, like your goal... Wow, did you see that thumbtack just, like, do an airstrike on me, bro? He just came for me, man. We were talking about unpredictability of AI, and that guy's like, nah, man, I'm a heat-seeking missile. The thumbtack knows where the thumbtack isn't, and it's not stabbing a thorn in your side because previously the thumbtack knows where it was, but it wasn't. Like, it completely decimated me. But yeah, I do think that a lot of game devs probably are fearful of making a game too antagonistic to the player, because too much antagonism, too much inconsistency robs the player of that sense of challenge and success they get from beating something. You know, there's a fine line. If it's too random and it doesn't feel like they earned their win, then you're sort of ruining the accomplishment that they can feel from playing a game. And perhaps that's something Kim is playing with here in these design. There needs to be a balance, I think. The only options we actually have quite a bit of options here. I'm not taking advantage of all of the options, but we have some movement tech that can kind of keep us floating potentially above the enemies, and also put bullets at a lot of different angles. I can also sort of protect myself to a certain extent. I can't go too far back. If I go any more left than this, it restarts. There's a kill zone outside, but he does give me a little bit of movement. I can sort of try to avoid, and these guys specifically have like an upward left-facing collision box, so it does sort of give me a safe space that I can sort of fire from off-screen, which is interesting in a one-screen game, because in one screen, you know, we can see all the enemies, and now we need to take advantage of our own off-screenness to defeat them. That's kind of a fascinating concept. A lot of symbolic, metaphorical stuff here. I'm feeling very whimsical today, so you're going to get a lot of my unburdened, random initial impressions with this. I quite like this level, even if it is jank. I feel I need to wait for these Roman saluting, frowny eggheads to go right, which is also its own metaphor in its own way. Obviously, the Roman saluting guys would go right. I just need to wait for them to go right before I can take them out. Notice how they have a big hand and a kind of angry face, but very short legs. They don't get far in their ideology. A lot of illusions to be drawn here. And then we have axes and thumbtacks. The axe is also... The blade is facing away from us, but it still kills us. That's interesting. I need these eggheads to die first. Okay, that axe is in a very good position to take us out. So we need to hope that the chop doesn't chop us. We gotta pray we don't get chopped. Ah, man, my nose is just a little too big. It's just a little too big. I'm gonna hold right. We're gonna catch up. I like how every Kubus fact I write sounds like a made-up lie, but it's true. It does, yeah. It's fun RNG because it's only a single screen and it saves and restarts every time. Yeah, that's something I notice about my game, Jump Off the Bridge, is if I give the player the ability to restart, then generally they're like much more forgiving about it, because it's like, okay, well, I can get immediately back in the action. You know, it's not super frustrating. Like I as a game creator, I want people to beat the game, and probably in the same way that Kim wants people to beat the game, which is why he added saving in it. You know, he wants people to see all the weird, whimsical, zany creatures that he made, but he still wants to do it on his terms. He wants to draw his lines and his boundaries. And so the enemies are going to be random, they're going to be wild, they're going to be chaotic, they're going to be noisy, they're going to be ugly, they're going to be colorful, they're going to be flagrantly stand juxtaposed stiffly against the fuchsia background that is weird and both liquid and fractal-like in its nature, but we're gonna be here to experience it all. And we got a gun. We got a guy with a big nose, a very vulnerably big nose, unfortunately. Even though our nose has been pointed right, as if to denote the direction we have to go, it has not been lance-like in any avenue. It has been pretty much akin to the narwhal's nose, which I was talking about the symbol of the unicorn recently. I know I'm getting very distant with a lot of this stuff, but it was interesting because a lot of people believe that the unicorn was a mythical horse, and it was an important medicinal thing, and it meant a lot of different things to different people. But what's interesting is that the actual narwhal horn that they were using, narwhals themselves, the horn is actually a tooth that grows out of the male's mouth, and it's used primarily as a sensory organ to determine the climate and temperature of the water and things like that. And so when it's broken, it causes a lot of distress for them in different ways. Their ability to sort of navigate their environment is lessened. And in the same way, perhaps this is Johnny's sort of, divining rod. He sort of smells what's ahead. But if it gets touched, it's very fragile. And the horn is a hollow thing for the narwhals. I believe it is hollow. It is filled with something like a tooth is, but it's not very, I don't know how hard it is. I haven't touched one myself. If anybody in chat can tell me where I can go to touch a narwhal tusk, let me know. I would love to see how sturdy those things are, how easy they are to break. I imagine it'd be kind of like a tooth, but because it's so long, unfortunately, it would have leverage, so there'd be a lot more opportunity to break it. I also believe it's like to show off to the females how impressively divining your divining rod is. I believe the narwhals use it as some sort of thing like that too, like most animals do, but I'm not quite sure. Some sort of posturing, some sort of size shaming. I'm sure that's in there. We'll see. Kim turned his mind off and used his unconsciousness to design the enemies, which is a technique Jinx Tengu used too. Yeah, it makes sense. I can definitely see it. It's like the flow state, really, is what it is. It's like, hey, I'm just gonna draw, and I'm gonna give myself permission to draw without sort of censoring myself, and whatever comes of it, comes of it. Okay, so we hop, so he does move up a little bit. I'm gonna wait for the bullets to pass. Roman saluting Baldi's stuck with a single emotion, just like most Kubus, but that's not unusual to him because everyone got used to that. Yeah, interesting thoughts there. The thumbtack game is called Tic Tac Blow, squirting the curtains of... I could have never made that up. Wow, that's a... What fucking title is that, bro? Kim really went out there. I appreciate the Johnny games have been relatively varied and interesting. It also sounds like, from what some of you guys were saying yesterday, some of the names of his music was kind of crazy too. But I also think that's like a childlike thing, right? To poke at the sacred cows. Nothing is sacred. It's like everything's a playground. I sort of get it. I feel it too. I've been debating if I wanted to make just a strictly 18 plus DLC for my game, Jump Off the Bridge, because I wanted to explore like more crazier topics. Maybe not crazier, but just less tame topics, I should say. I quite like this boss. We got different areas we can kind of avoid him. He teleports around. He's like a ghost. It's kind of cool looking. Let's see if we can take him out. Oh, he teleported on top of me, bro. His wizardly powers. Some of the times in the boss fights, I debate whether or not I want to be more active or more passive in a fight, because I could just sit here and eventually the boss may die or it may hit me first. I feel like I want to actively engage with it, but I don't know if I can trust it because it just maybe it'll get stuck. I don't know. I'll sit here and shoot for a minute. We'll see what happens. Yeah, the bosses are very easy. Yeah, the bosses here are very easy. They are. I really like the mini boss thing. That's quite a... Oh, did he get stuck? Nope. He may just teleport on me and kill me. It is all just random. He is having a seizure, though. You're right. He has a seizure, then he gets stuck in a wall. He sort of comes back down to earth a little bit. I'm kind of disappointed that the bosses get stuck. I would actually like a more fleshed out boss fight in a Johnny game. Something that you could like sort of use all the abilities you had, potentially with the scaffolding and the nose stuff. That would be pretty interesting. Okay, now we fight our enemies on the hill. This is an awkward... There's also like a wind noise blowing in my ear now. The music is like really... like blowing into a mic, sort of. Somebody breaking down a door is what it sounds like. And now we get back to the peaceful... Okay, we can sort of use our flying ability here. Assuming that I can get above the enemy, or slip under them. Like the little trickster I am. Oh, I wish I could turn small there. Get me out! Okay. Oh, new enemy. Vaguely alien slime creature. Oh, wow, even the light post is evil, too. Okay, I don't know. This level seems really random. I think you should play aggressively because you can RNG kill. They can RNG kill you at any time. You get infinite restarts. Okay, let's try it. Let's try using your strat to play really aggressively. I don't know how I feel about this level. This one feels really RNG, so I don't know if I'm going to get many opportunities to play aggressively. I've been playing very safe though. You're right. Like this lamppost. It seems like this is the strat here. The lamppost shoots lampposts too. Very concise direction. I almost feel like I gotta pray that he gets stuck in this hole here. The hole where all Kim's enemies go to die is right there. Oh, okay, this slime needs to die, but we gotta pray he goes right too. Okay, this is good, this is good, this is good, good. Nope. Okay, we need this to go. Okay, this to go. Okay, now we just got some Roman saluting guys we gotta take care of. I can't quite see the top of this. Okay. Can I get over here and just sort of... Nice. Okay. Okay, we're hitting him. Do we hit this guy? Yes, we hit him. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I do agree with you. Some of the levels I can just kind of ignore the enemies, and like this one I might be able to. If I can get over this axe here, I think I can just go through the rest of the level. Oh, maybe I can go under the axe. Okay, maybe not. Okay, the squares are trying to threaten my lower ground here. The axe has wedged itself into the wall. It's not moving. It's staying there and smiling at me. Okay, but this area, I think if I kill this, I think if I kill this guy here, I can just ignore the rest. I feel like I've taken a lot of damage. I'm trying to be a little bit more careful here. This game is like a walk in the park. Okay, nice, 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 nice. I'm just enjoying the sights. I'm taking my time. Okay, we're still here in a vaguely city-like area. These lampposts are unfortunately really tall, so that sort of prevents a bit of my jumping over them. I also can't trust them. I can't trust light, because it smiles menacingly at me just like every other inanimate object rendered animate in this crazy world does. Nice, okay. Very beautiful game. Sad in a way. Especially the music makes me feel sad. I don't know if I've gotten the sadness yet. There's like a weird pressing, ambient blowing, knocking going on. Oh, this is a level that actually uses the jump technique. That's pretty creative. Is this guy coming for me? He is coming for me, dude. Okay, maybe I should wait a second. See what this guy's gonna do. Lol, there are some levels in this one you would never do unless you find a new glitch to exploit. Clearly, the games get more and more advanced, at very least because of that. Green frog characters look like something the Parappa creator would make. That's also true, I can see that. Yeah, I think that was my favorite thing about watching these games as a viewer, like watching Saint play through them, was that like he took the glitches and stuff in the game and made it part of the process of like how you beat it. I do like that. I wish there were more games that did something like that. Okay, don't kill me. I know it's a lot. Ooh, I knew he would. I couldn't trust that smiling face. Kim is a man that can't trust smiling faces on anything. He's got a sort of pareidolia to everything. Everything has a face. Animate, inanimate, doesn't matter what. It all has a face. It all smiles back at him. Unnerving. No! You couldn't see it, but my nose was like right above him. And I fell down accidentally and I was trying to get back up. Very storm-like, this track here. Oh, we gotta use this technique. I forgot about this one. The technique that you taught me, Noli. I have to hold right and then hit left to ascend off walls. One of my favorite games growing up for the TurboGrafx 16 is Bonk's Adventure. I played a shit ton of that as a kid. And in the first level of that game, you have an ability, Bonk, the titular character. He has a huge fucking head. It's so big, he can headbutt everything. But he has a climb ability where he bites onto the corner of the map and sort of chews his way up to the top, erratically, like a barbaric caveman. It's pretty good. Reminds me of Johnny climbing in a way. Oh, okay. Oh, there's a platform here, okay. Oh. Can't quite see every platform now. He really liked the invisible level, so we're gonna do another one. It looks like there's a platform for a while here. Hard to tell where there is one, where there isn't one. Okay, I can't tell if I'm restarting a level or if I'm beating it. This feels like the same level. Okay, that feels like a death. So this is where... Bless me. Get in some different level design. I seriously get chills from this music. Please don't F-bomb, it hurts. Alright, I won't F-bomb then. What did I say F-bomb to? Oh, maybe it's because I'm saying the F sound. Yeah, I'm too close to my mic. I can pull it back a little bit. Oh, I found it. Okay. I blow too much air. I like these guys. They're kind of friendly looking. Everything's look friendly looking to some extent, I guess. Oh, I went left. I was trying to go somewhere else and I found a boss. Okay, so this is just me and him in the endless, vast space. I don't see... Oh, there is a wall here. Maybe I'll use this technique. I quite like this. I feel like the boss is going to take a lot of damage from this. The rabbit square. Oh, okay. This boss is almost like a cohesive boss, right? It's like so close to being like a normal video game boss, right? Like if he consistently jumped and you had to get under him, like it would basically be a boss. Like I'm pretty sure that's a Cuphead boss. Like a boss where he jumps and he tries to attack wherever position you previously were. Like, it would actually be a normal boss. Pretty interesting to see how close we are. Ooh, Void. Okay, got an interesting background. Some text. I always like seeing text in these games. That's probably one of my, the things I liked about that one Johnny game where he talks about, like, the water tower, and then there's, like, you know, different buildings that have names on them and signs. I felt like we were in Azania, we were in a place, we were in Kubus or whatever. Felt like he's sort of building the lore of the world. Now it's kind of just abstract and surreal, and it's difficult to figure out the conventions of the world. You sort of just gotta guess yourself, guesstimate what you think is happening, why it's happening, if there even is a why, other than just for it to be its own, you know, self-evidentary thing. I beat the game, 691. You had a pretty big score. I wonder if my score will be the same. I do feel like we have to kill a lot of things to progress in this one, right? Like, a lot of the enemies are, since it's one screen, you do have to kill a lot of stuff. I think I really like the one-screen Johnny variant, though. I like to see everything. I have an idea. I can sort of formulate a strategy better. It prevents that guessing of having to enter a level and sort of wade your way through it. It also feels like the level isn't so big and like I have to navigate a lot of stuff and cover a lot of ground to figure out, you know, what is the end goal of this, if it even is just going to the right sort of thing. So in that way, the one screen levels are more forgiving. So Johnny 20 is pretty interesting in that respect. To intrigue you, I think you will never figure out one screen here unless I explain the glitch technique, but that screen is soon. Okay, well, just let me play around with it. I'll see if I figure out what the screen is. We'll see if I get the glitch technique. We'll see what Kim. I want to play some of these as intended, but if I get tired of it, I'll ask for a hint or ask for you to explain the glitch technique. I don't know. Am I confident? I feel like I could be confident about it. I play a lot of the Johnny games. I sort of understand it. Those froggy hats are drawn almost realistically in a bit of a freaky way. That's true. They are kind of. So we have a sort of mouth technique here. I'm just gonna wait for a level where this guy dies. Okay. Also, Kim has transgressed the heretical cardinal sin of making up jump, which is something I will never forgive him for. I wish we used different buttons than control. But I guess I could have just used like joy to key and mapped it to a controller if I really wanted to. If I really wanted a tailored modern gamer experience. I didn't notice you beat most of them. That's most of them, right? Most of the guys, you mean? Yeah, I have been killing most of the enemies, so... Are you talking about in the game design? Yeah, a lot of the enemies, they require you to defeat them to be able to beat them, which is different than previous iterations. We've been able to see the enemies, but yeah, you're right. Like I mentioned, you have to beat a lot of them to actually progress. Like, you can't simply jump over them. It's like the evasive techniques have been rendered, like, more useless. What significance do you think the Void has to do with Kim's mindset? That's a good question, Brent. I'd like to know your opinion on that as well. My general opinion is that, like, you know, he's operating these games from a sense of trying to be shapeless and formless, right? Like, he's trying to engage with his creativity on a level of, like, unconsciousness. He's trying to just draw stuff, sort of letting it be as it is. He's not, he doesn't seem like he's drawing things and then changing them later, you know? He seems like he sort of makes a level, he plays it, and then he just sort of, he does it as it comes, not as, you know, anything else. So that's what I think he means by Void. Perhaps also, like, he's just doing a lot of drugs that sort of silence the ego, so his inner voice is you know, not too loud anymore. And maybe that's part of the operation. I don't know. There is some invisible wall here, but I can't quite tell. The mouth of the void opens up, and we're left with a wall. I kind of want to be higher. I have this hunch to be higher here. But my nose is also big. Okay, so the level exit is not over there. At least, I don't know yet. I'll have to try it a few more times. I want to try touching all the edges of the screen. So if I jump too high, I die. Yeah, okay, let's just confirm that. Let's kind of ignore the enemies and see if I can sort of explore the edge of the boundaries here. I suspect this is the level you're talking about. Dreams have a lot of unknown in them since they're limited to what you're focusing on at the moment in the dream. I can see that. Yeah, they are very single screen in that way, if you will. You know, they sort of try to remove prior context. Their dreams don't really have like I mean, depends on what your dream is, obviously. There's a lot of variations of dreams, but they don't have the constant narrative of past, present, and future that we sort of have. We have these anxieties that exist only in the future about things we worry about, and then we have our regrets and lessons and habits and things we've learned in the past that we carry with us, but dreams kind of remove a little bit of that layer. They peel back the skin a little bit. Sometimes they engage with just like a single emotion, sometimes it's like a metaphorical process or story or thing like that. There's a lot of variation. It's honestly a little sad to remember the early Johnny games after playing the later ones, but the early ones have a cohesive naivety grounded in reality. But after Johnny 27, it's very crazy. Well, good thing after Johnny 27, I have decompiled them so we can look under the hood if we can't figure out how to beat it. Void was probably meant to be scary, but that is not how the average player probably feels about the text. Yeah, it could be. Maybe Void and like this idea of like life and death is supposed to be like a scary thing. That we are in this void with these weird creatures. It's a good question. And then Brent, you said, putting void in your creative works probably shows some signs of helplessness or hopelessness or depression. I wonder if he was feeling the effects of his addiction and started to feel that there was no way back. Could be. I do get that idea of like identity, right? This like loss of self, this like voidlessness, like shapeless, helpless. I think of those words when I just sort of free associate with it a little bit. It's hard to say that he was struggling with identity issues, but I do sort of get that vibe of like the person you are and trying to be. He really seemed like somebody that wanted control of his reality, and I sort of think that because of I sort of see this like helplessness and lack of control in some of this stuff, because like the enemies themselves are all sort of this oppressive, like some of them are random, you can't really decide. You have some action, sometimes you have the hands that you can use to sort of hold your gun, other times it feels like you don't really have hands. He also had like a god complex thing later where he talks about how he's a god. I don't know if that's specifically a god complex. He had this idea that he is a god, and I think that we all have creative powers and the ability to make stuff. So I could see people being godly in that way, but when I see that sort of stuff, I also see like a loss of self, a struggling of like, hey, I want to be a god because I want to control this reality that feels like unfamiliar, unfriendly, and hurtful. And I also see that with all these happy things, right? Like we have all these happy things, but they all kill you. And some of them are just benign objects like thumbtacks, and other ones are like weird Christian, like Jesus figures and things like that. It's a bizarre smorgasbord of interesting things. Okay, so I don't feel like I need to go right, actually. I feel like I'm gonna try over here. Let's sort of hit the edge here. Okay, no. Perhaps, I was trying to go, what if we go up and left? Maybe we go towards the void. Maybe that's what Kim's trying to say. I want to explore the lower right of the screen a little bit more. So there is a series of invisible platforms that we can't quite see, obviously, because they're invisible and not opaque. But I sort of want to see. I can try going towards the void once I get rid of this purple rectangle, but I can also shoot and through this little gap here. There's like a little window of opportunity of bullets going through. Ooh, that guy came for me. Okay, let's see if we can use this strategy to get one more bullets through this hole. I don't know. I don't necessarily get a sad vibe from this one, but I do see what you're saying, Noli. It does feel muted and like weirdly, yeah. There's a lot more weapons too. The enemies are getting more sharper, but they also feel slower, so it's hard to say. Okay, I want to explore this corner here. Seems like there is a platform here. I can't walk forward. There's multiple platforms here, I think. This has got to be in the lower right corner. It's actually, there's, perhaps I need to, For those of you that don't know and are just tuning in now, I am fighting against invisible platforms. Monsters I cannot even conceive. To shout out my game again, the better way to do this is to make the platforms slightly visible just for a brief moment when you make contact with them. That gives the player a little bit of like the ability to memorize what it looks like. Shameless shout out. Some modern iterations of what this mechanic would look like, but more fun because it doesn't just feel random and unforgivingly weird. But then again, they also don't have big jutting noses that act as part of the player's collision, so I kind of want to go down and then go left, but I want to go to the right, maybe? This feels like a box. I don't feel like I can get out of it, but I thought I did get out of it earlier. Oh. I don't know how I ended up down here. He has put many level transitions down at the bottom. Oh, there's like a... I can't fall off the map here. There's something here. Can I descend off screen? Dude, I feel like it's right here, man. I want it so bad. But there's clearly something to my back. There's something below me. Is it to the right? Oh! Oh, man, dude, I thought that was it. I was so close. Intuitive understanding, like any other game. Full embrace in this one, acceptance. Hint. Hardest to reach spot you would think of if you were just watching but not playing. The hardest to reach spot if you were watching. Is it like up left here? What would be the hardest spot to reach if you... Oh, maybe it's just the top of this inner thing here. That would make sense, right? I do think the hardest spot to reach would be the top inner of this thing, from my perspective. I don't know if that's from a player perspective they would think the same thing. Because like, you think your nose, you can see it. You can see you have a big nose. It gets in the way of a lot of stuff. So let's try to go to the apex of this. Maybe I should kill this guy before he kills me. It's a dog-eat-dog world in the Johnny universe, and I'm doing my best on Red Lobster Saturday to eat all the dogs of the sea. I made sleepy time. Thank you for not F-bombing while I'm here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I don't feel like I say it that often. I've said a lot of other stuff that's probably, you know, it's probably more crazy than that. I don't feel like I need to censor my speech for other people, but if you have a problem with it, I'll keep it in mind. I'll only say it if it really makes sense to. Streaming is a balance of being yourself and also pleasing the audience, so that's the line I tread. Yeah, this has to be the hardest to reach position. Okay, I think I can just sort of use my nose as an ice pick to climb the mountain if I get the right angle. Okay, get up here, my brother. Okay. I guess I could go up and over. I've done that before. And try to use my feet to wedge into like a gap, but perhaps this is what you were talking about when you were talking about a quite difficult. Can I slot my nose in? It's more difficult than I would thought. Those look like axolotls. They kind of do. They're pink anyways. That one is too hard to reach. Think of something easier and more obvious considering you can jump high. It's weird. It does kind of feel like there's something up here. Something hard to reach. I died again. And so you can jump high. Kim decides randomly that he wants this to be a puzzle game. Also, Fuzzy, I didn't ask what kind of sleepy time tea do you have? Is it actually sleepy time tea or does it have caffeine? Because that wouldn't be sleepy time tea, would it? Does it seem likely based on the previous rooms that this is the exit point? Like the end of the game, you mean? It could be. It has like a sort of exit look, right? Like you got the void, you got the sea that sort of opens out to the right. That sort of seems to imply, or I guess it's like a spiral or like a squiggle loop or something with a hole in it. Hardest place to reach, you would think, because you jump high. I feel like it's over here. No? How would sleepy time tea have given? Last hint, it's on a platform. Oh, okay. It's on a platform. Well, I guess I'll touch all the platforms. Maybe I'll try going to the top then. I'll go up and over again. Do they make that? Sometimes they have tea that has like melanin or melatonin. I think it's melatonin like property. Melanin is the skin color, right? I got that mixed up. It's on a platform. I gotta jump. I can't jump too high though. Okay, yeah. Okay, it might be over to the right then. Maybe I got close. My mom makes sleepy time tea too, so it's not green or black, but herbal. Interesting. Well, what herbs is your tea, Fuzzy? Is it chamomile? I'm gonna put myself in Fuzzy's shoes here. I'm gonna imagine drinking something that isn't the dark swill of the coffee that I am currently drinking. Black Silk is what Drinking Folgers Black Silk. I don't really like it that much, but I have it left, and I haven't bought coffee in like years since I usually don't drink it. But after my Iowa trip of waking up hella early, I got into the habit of it, which has been helping my focus immensely. They often talk about how people that have like ADHD like find a way to self-medicate, whether it's through caffeine or other substances or nicotine, coffee, nicotine, whatever it is. And I feel much more calmer, and it's easier to focus with coffee in me. Man, I just gotta get good. What if you poked your nose in the blocks so Johnny's sitting in front of the void word for a while? That's a good idea, Brent. That's a great. I did get over this before. You can scroll back in the play. I did actually get over this, but I don't remember if I hit it from. I'm pretty sure I walked over it. I need to hold my key a little bit longer. I'm pretty sure it's like right here. Oh, maybe it's the next one up. Maybe we got to do this one right here. Oh, that's close. That is really close. You gotta want it though. Maybe if I do that one, I feel like I die. But if I do this one, okay. Let's try the next one up. Oh man, okay. Maybe I gotta let go of my. You actually do have. Do you have variable jump height? I don't know. I don't know. You face. Rated complete garbage by Kimberly Kubus. 5 stars in Letterboxd. Good morning. Good morning, Hammer. How are you? I never medicated my ADHD, but I do drink at least 5 liters of tea and 11 liters of liquid total in a day. That's a lot of liquid, dude. There's a better way to get there on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side then. I've been stubbornly approaching this puzzle from the same angle for quite a while now. So let's switch it up. These games have many life lessons, and that is one of them. I'm pretty sure I jumped. Oh, this is it. This is so it. Okay. You said it's on a platform? Is it on this annoying platform over here? Is it on... Oh, okay. I went too high. Perhaps there's another invisible trigger I must hit. Who knows what Kim has in store for me. I am simply a pawn in his great game of chaos in life, represented through his eyes. What wondrous achievements. The accolades that I can earn my merit badges of Johnny. We should make a bunch of merit badges for each Johnny game. That would be really funny. You gotta beat every game to earn the merit badge. It's like Boy Scouts, but it's the Johnny Bildungsroman. So wait. Man, you learned a technique on a previous stream and forgot it now. Remember how to lightly climb any vertical platform? Yeah, I do, and I've used that, but I haven't used it. Oh, I've never used it going left, though. I've only used it going right. Okay, well, thank you. We did work our way there. Sorry it took me so long, but there's a lot of Johnny techniques. There's a lot of movement. It's like, you really gotta be a pro at these things. That's true, though. I could have just used that to get up the platforms. Okay. I'm so used to the slightly variable jump height in my game, I think, because I put like a couple thousand hours into playing that platforming. Now I'm going to go back to my own game, and I'm going to be terrible at it, because I'll have memorized Johnny's slightly asinine movement. Slightly wacky formlessness to each game here. Okay, we're back to here. I am Boy Scout twice. Like are you saying you're an Eagle Scout then? Because you've done Boy Scouts twice or something, or what? Or are you saying that if we did a Johnny Boy Scout... Oh, you beat both the games twice. That's what you're saying. I got you. Yeah, you beat all of the Johnny games twice. It's true. I really do like... I like the idea of being a teacher for game design and having your students play like certain games to like learn what feels good and what feels bad to sort of help them build a repertoire of like game design mechanics would be like kind of compelling for like a class list. I don't know what my lessons would be necessarily, but it would be funny to make like a sort of mock school where part of the requirement to pass is to beat a certain number of Johnny games and experience them firsthand. Oh, this is an interesting situation. We are stuck in a very confined, narrow spiral of the void where thumbtacks threaten to stab us as they flit around, finding their way ever lower because gravity propels them more towards me. Actually, what am I doing? I can just ignore this, can I? Oh, my nose is too big. I would have really liked to have seen some more off-the-edge gameplay here where I could sort of scaffold up the right-hand side by, oh, he's stuck. This is my moment. Before he gets unstuck. Okay, so let's use it. Let's not forget techniques that we've had here. Oh, so because Johnny's feet are... Oh, that was it. Because Johnny's feet are a little weird. Nice. I forgot. We have a little bit of... Oh, I died. Okay, we have something interesting here. Noli is the MVP. He really is. He's the MVP of all these Johnny games. I cannot wait to play the Mike games too. They look really funny and bad in their own way. They actually look a little bit more challenging than Johnny games. So I'm curious to see how I'll end up feeling after beating him. But we have quite a bit of fan games to get through, so expect some quality entertainment. Oh, nice. Look at I can just ignore him. I can let him live. Oh, I jumped too high. It's always too close to the sun with this guy. You get so used to these techniques that muscle movements remember them forever. It's great how Kim teaches a player in this gauntlet of platforming. In his gauntlet of platforming, yes. That is true. Oh, actually, maybe I should be trying to do something else, because it doesn't look like, though to the right seems like it'd be the avenue to move, it actually doesn't seem like the level goal is to the right. It might be somewhere else hidden. These are some of the more, the aspects I dislike about these games is the sort of random level exit. The undenoted level exit is not a mechanic I like at all. But I am more forgiving of it in these games because they are wacky, they are weird, they are unconventional, they are chaotic, and I think that sort of adds to the theme of the chaos of them. But I'm also somebody that prefers the autonomy of a situation, so obviously I would like to know what I'm up against. We all fear the unknown. So perhaps he's trying to teach us even that in these moments. Okay. I don't know. Is it down here? Okay, no. We checked down there. We'll keep looking. It don't gotta be a mock school. These games are more than jokes, and they have something to teach every player. Yeah, I meant mock school more as in... like, I'm not a licensed teacher of game design sort of thing, but I just mean, like, the idea of making, like, a sort of game design course from the perspective of somebody that has made, like, a game that he's been working on for a long time, but also some of the interesting, obscure games that we often don't get to see a lot of here. I was thinking about, I was doing some research about more obscure titles that have mechanics that haven't been passed over in the, well, they've been passed over in the sense that they haven't been explored very deeply here in the West, but they've been passed over in that they haven't been passed over hand to hand from some of these other cultures. Each culture has its own sort of way to view game design. I've heard often that a big difference between Western and Eastern thought, the the Orient versus the Occident over here, is that because of language shaping our perception, that like Asiatic countries that have kanji, they have these sort of pictures for words. They view it more like they see the whole, sort of thing. Whereas we have letters that make up words, so we see pieces of things that sort of formulate a concept. And you'll notice that kind of play out a little bit unconsciously on a wider scale of how Westerners will focus more on the like details of like parts of a process to make a whole, and they don't sort of step back and look at the macro. And whereas like I see with like Asian games, they sort of look at a macro scale. That's obviously a generalization. It's not always true. It's not to say that you can't do both or actively do both, but I think that some of the way our language shapes our thoughts about it. I actually read this book by George Lakoff, a little bit of it anyways, as I was skimming through it, called Metaphors We Live By. And he talks about how language sort of shapes our thoughts in different ways. Like when you think of an argument, you think of the words that color an argument, right? You're either gaining ground, you're losing ground, you're the winner of an argument. Like each of these words sort of describe like a battle. And that's kind of how we take arguments over here in the West. These things color, the words color and shape the way that we think about these things. These are the metaphors we live by, if you will. And I can see that in games as well. Like you have specifically like a very interesting game is Umihara Awase. I don't know, but it's a game where it's a platforming game where one element is taken to its extreme. You play I believe it's a girl, and she has the ability to grapple and swing from things, and it is just a pretty interesting design, focusing wholeheartedly on delving into that concept immensely. This idea of swinging. It's like a gimmick, basically, but the whole game is designed around it. It's a very macro look of one specific thing that's honed down to like a gimmicky like level. Whereas like in the West, we have like, we have different design decisions, and I think some of that is determined by our language of assembling letters to make something rather than having the whole picture laid out for us that we can look at. So it's just some thoughts and speculation about that. But yeah, in this level you would never do unless you learn a new glitch. All right, we'll figure it out. This T is the greatest in the world. Emphasis on the great. If I showed you where the teleport trigger is on this screen is with my finger, you would think that is absolutely impossible to reach. You must be joking. Would I think that? It must be in the top right then, because that's the only place I think I couldn't reach, is in the top right. So I see we're getting more and more glitches. Thank goodness we have Noli here with us, the MVP of the Johnny games, to sort of... Oh, it's in the lower left. Never mind. I got it. I figured it out. And I was wrong, too. Luckily, you can stumble your way through things, just like life. Sometimes find your way winning. We're always winning here. We have tiger's blood. Have you tried the city game yet? I have not. I saw you linked it. I was going to give it a shot. If not today, then sometime tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. I actually have not played a lot of SimCity, so is this a SimCity type game that you made years ago and just didn't want to continue for some reason, or what? I was curious. And I didn't know that it was like already done, or at least playable, and you said you brought it back. I thought it was like something that was, much more primitive. That's why I said like, oh, that's cool, sure. Progress, basically, in the Discord when you posted it. So pretty much they make games in Japan the same way they used to make movies. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it is like that. Where they take a technique and try to view it holistically or something like that. Here it is as a spoiler though. Okay, I'll check that out later. Look at the link. I drew a Kubus character to show a thing. Oh, you drew a Kubus character. Okay, let me click on it. That's pretty funny. Hopefully you guys can see that on there. That's what he drew for us. I managed to stumble into it. So what's going on in this game? That's a great question. The only thing that has been consistently going on, Hammer, is that Johnny has a big nose, and he generally has a gun. But between each iteration, we sometimes gain abilities and lose abilities, and the monsters devolve more and more weird and stranger as time goes on. The games are also really exploring quite a bit of the 2D space for game design, which is what's interesting about them. Okay, I sort of teleported through that and my nose led first. Never meet an obstacle with your nose. That's what I'm learning from the Johnny games. A lesson to live by. I will never go head first into any situation ever again, let alone nose first, the most vulnerable position a man can take. But, if there's anything these games have consistently is their inconsistency, I would say. That's also, they're very chaotic. But from a game design perspective, they are exploring quite a bit of the two-dimensional genre of whatever Kim's skills were, so that's what I personally find fascinating about it. Some of the lore is pretty interesting when we do get lore. We don't always get lore. It's kind of random when he decides to add lore to it. The lore has been Johnny is some sort of character or person that lives in the world of Zania or Kubus. We haven't decided. Sometimes he's a wizard, sometimes he's not. He definitely always has a fire gun. I have not seen the gun. We did have one time where we had to reload. We didn't have endless mana to cast fire like we do. That was an interesting thing. But each game does sort of play with movement, the size and shape of Johnny, and the enemies are varied and have different AI each time, generally. Though the AI is sort of like a spastic, seizure-like, random directional back and forth that they sort of clamber oddly. At times, gravity-less floating. Other times, on the ground, back and forth, writhing. As things do in life when they live. They writhe. That's what this game is about. It's about writhing. I hope I answered your question, Hammer. It's okay. I don't mind. I was just wondering. Yeah, I haven't clicked on the link yet. I was going to click on it later. I basically I've been dog watching, so I came to the office, and I was like, I'm going to do my Johnny for the day, and then I'm going to do some other stuff, and then I'm going to go back to the house and finish watching the dogs, and then they're back Sunday, so. It's inspired by Micropolis. You made it years and years ago. Made by Maxis. Okay, I have seen Micropolis. That's pretty cool. I'm excited to give that a shot. What made you want to bring it back? What are your motivations for that? I'm excited to see it. I did like the candy game, too. Did you release that on, like, phones already? You were working on, like, a candy puzzle game? Other consistencies, always has teleport triggers, always on platforms, always enemies that are always killable, always along nose. That is true. The enemies are always killable, there are always platforms. We do always jump. There has been a pretty consistent jump each time. Also, you gotta do Johnny 21. It's short and easy, trust me. Okay, I'll do Johnny 21. I'm feeling it. I'm at 3 hours now, so we got quite a bit, but I'll give it a shot. I was gonna debate on it after I beat Johnny 20. But if it's short. Also, someone just resubscribed for 7 months. Oh, really? I didn't see that. Oh, that's weird. I can't see Noli's text in chat, but only on the stream. Yeah, Noli's on YouTube. I'm streaming both on Twitch and YouTube. Well, thank you for the resubscribe, whoever resubscribed. I don't know who resubscribed. I don't have it set up. But thank you. I appreciate it. Sometimes I had my chatty set up notifications for it, but then it doesn't do it, so I gotta go in and see. So thank you, whoever you are, wherever you are, I appreciate it. You are anon until otherwise, man. Thank you for the resubscription. I was just looking through my old repos and found it. Thought I lost the code forever, but no, that is awesome. Johnny's series has a lot of candy-related elements, if you notice. Yeah, I do notice. A lot of tooth-related elements, too, you know, like candy, sweet tooth. Like, I think about those English free associative sort of things when I think about it for long enough. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do like a combined chat on Twitch. It would be cool if it all worked, but yeah. And I may also do, I may set it up to do like a Kick multi-stream too, so you're going to see a lot of people there in different chats at some point. I can also do TikTok if we really want to do that. Could you imagine this on TikTok, bro? Oh, man. The scores of people that can see Johnny on TikTok. It's endless. Truly endless. I even updated it recently. Oh, that's awesome, dude. It's cool that you can jump back into your own code and just sort of make stuff. Oh, there's the final boss. He's fire-related, you know? He kind of looks like he has the fire gun from the earlier Johnny games. I miss the specific fire gun that we had. It looks like he's stuck. The bosses are sometimes moving and other times just waiting to die. Which may be the metaphor for life. Waiting to die. Depends on how you live your life, I guess. Ah, what a walk in the park. 754. That's a pretty big score. Then we get a picture of Kim and a thanks for playing and a cunt to rats. You win. Your score C. Ah, easy. Another one under our belt. Like he shoots candies now. Okay, interesting. Also, Candy Game was sunset because of how many exist out there. And I didn't think it would be successful. Okay. Maybe someday I'll bring it back. I guess we'll see. I enjoyed playing it, but I understand what you're saying. Brent Brother was one who... Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you, Brent. Thank you out there. Sorry I don't have all the notifications set up. I do appreciate it. Also, isn't it late for you? Are you up super late? Put yourself on every platform, including the Chinese ones. Yeah, that's what I should be doing. I should try to get a multi-stream for... I don't think they even have that for Billy. That would be crazy. Saint was so cool because he was the only one who beat the whole Johnny series on YouTube. He is still cool. That's true. And I will be the next. Will I be cool? I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned with is actually feeling like I put in the effort to beat each of these games. That's what's important to me. Because if I'm going to make a true homage, I really want to experience every aspect of the Johnny games. So, you should stream somewhere like Times Square. I should. How much do you think it would cost to do that? Probably a lot of money. Could you imagine everybody's walking by and seeing Johnny series? That would be crazy. If I ever get enough random money from any of the games I make, I want to do stupid stuff like that. Billboards, weird things. Hey, congrats. Yeah, thank you, man. We're going to do one. We're going to do another one. Unless it's really short, then I'm going to do the next one. We'll see how bold I get today. Just get on the Jumbotron. That would be awesome. I'm sure I could hack it. I might be able to. It depends on what game I make. I have, dude, there's this, I'm not going to spoil the idea because I don't like talking about ideas generally because it feels like I talk myself out of being uninspired, and the same effort that I could just put forth towards like doing the idea, which would give me the same dopamine hit. Like it feels like it loses some of its luster, some of its elegance if I just yap about it all day until it becomes nothingness. But I do have these ideas rattling in my head, and they're like at a point where like they keep speeding up the more they like hit the different edges and the walls of my brain. And if I don't let them out soon, I'm going to go crazy. So I'm going to have to take a sojourn or something for like a month or two to just render them tangible. Maybe I'll do it on stream too. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, but I need to get them out of my head. They keep growing and they're like a tumor that I need to go to the hospital to remove. And the only way I can remove it is by sort of regurgitating it into my keyboard in my hands covered in vomit as I recklessly try to program them. So we'll see. Jeremy Colliard, the weirdest new postmodern developer, got his game Fuzz Dungeon on the Times Square, so we should spread the word about Johnny as much as possible. Interesting. Fuzz Dungeon. I don't think I've ever heard of that. I'll look that up later. Let me make a tab note of it. Fuzz Dungeon. Is that on Steam? It is on Steam. Absurdist. That does look really bizarre. Only got 64 reviews. That's kind of... It's only $4 too. Interesting. The well back to your job has been absorbed inside a Sasquatch sex amulet. Journey through 15 levels of absurdist human history to try and bring it back. It's got a vibe. It's got a vibe. Hey, wait for me. I gotta go for 4 minutes. Okay, I'll wait for you. I got stuff to yap about. When you play the city game, make sure you turn on disasters in my settings. How it's supposed to be played. Yeah, of course. We can't have a game without disasters. You know, you're the kind of dev that deserves notability like Pirate Software, but without being a liar and all the bad things about him. Just the viewership part. I appreciate that, Hammer. I actually did delve through quite considerably watching, like, Pirate Software's downfall. I never really liked him that much when he was starting out. Like, my cousin and some of my friends recommended videos from him, and I thought they were interesting. I remember watching that YouTube short that was pretty popular, where it was like talking about how, like, you can do slight tonal variations of noise so that they don't become too redundant to hear over and over again as it plays endlessly. So, like, an enemy could have like a oof noise, but you could have it at 2 different levels, like a oof or like a oof, so that there's enough distinction and variability so that it doesn't get too boring and stagnant and get annoying to the player. I felt like that was a pretty good advice thing, but I also felt like those are just, and this is some of my problem too with a lot of the self-help books and stuff I read. It's like pop science fact bullshit is what it is, right? It's like, you know, you could read some of these books about like game design and stuff, and you'll glean some of those like interesting game design stuff, but it always feels surface level and it doesn't feel like it's deep enough. Like if you actually delve into like trying to understand some of the reasoning behind it, it's like one of the other things I was listening to was like a podcast talking about, it's these guys I really like. They're pretty funny. It's they're much more liberal. I personally feel like more of a centrist person. I don't know if I agree with some of their stuff, but I did enjoy their stuff. They have a whole series called Books That Could Kill, and they talk about some of the like pernicious ideas that some of these different books have. And some of them are just funny episodes. Some of them are more political. They talk about things like The 48 Laws of Power is a really popular book. Pinkerman's like History of the Human World or something that a lot of people were pushing. There's like a bunch of weird ones. The Power of, oh man, what was I just thinking of while I was driving? It was such a dumb, it was like a poem, and then she like stole the poem and made like a whole book about it. She had this story about how like she was getting upset that her son was like going to prom and didn't want to like let it be or something. Is it Let It Be? It is what it is. I don't know. They all have some dumb catchphrase sort of thing where it's like you can build your life around this catchphrase. And that felt the same thing about Pirate Software. It felt like we were waiting in like a kiddie pool sort of thing of like, I'm not necessarily, he felt like he pretended to be more than he was. And I think that was the worst part about it, is that that if you have some humility about like, and self-awareness about your shortcomings, you can immediately be like a much more grounded person. And I think that there is that like Icarusian, I'm going to make up a word, Icarusian, that Icarus flying too close to the sun sort of thing. You know, eventually you build up this tower of illusion so big that you don't have enough mana to manage the illusion anymore, and then people can sort of like easily see through the cracks. And I think he's just somebody that needed a little bit more humility, needed to apologize, and something like that. Apologize for some of the stuff that he said and did. But I do appreciate, even if it wasn't his conscious intention, I appreciate that he indirectly helped the Don't Kill Games movement or whatever that was from Ross's Game Dungeon. That was a pretty interesting aspect of that story. It was that like because he sort of became the villain and he had such wide reach, it was Stop Killing Games is what it was. That Ross's legislation to have games that can't be killed by the company, or at least the company going forward has to offer some of the client side, server side stuff to the people that purchase the game to be able to continue the game. Like legally, I think that's a cool thing. Even as a game developer, I love the idea of some people running private servers of games and modifying them. I think games live a lot longer when the people that love them continue to be allowed to love them without being cease and desisted by some big oligarch, some authoritative monarchy of like, you can't touch our game. It's so stupid. I find that really frustrating. I find it really frustrating. One of the games that I've been trying to play, holy shit, dude, this is a side tangent. I'm sorry I'm getting on side tangents. Noli, you have plenty of time. I'm going to be here for a while. One of the side tangents is there's a game that's really eponymous, really important to Japanese culture, because it was like, it sold millions of copies. It was like for the old MSX, PC-88, PC-98. It had so many versions of it, right? And it's called Xanadu. And it's a really interesting game. And we've had some remakes and stuff on Steam here and there, but to play the original game, I've been trying my damnedest to get it to run on my thing. But it's amazing how unapproachable some of these things are, because they don't have English translations. Sometimes you got to patch ROMs, you got to use like weird stuff. Like if these companies just made the game sellable in multiple different places of the world, people would buy it. I would buy it. Right now it's annoying because if you want to buy the game, you can get it, but you can only get it through a Japanese website, and you have to like mail order money to them or something stupid like that. I don't know. Like you have to create a Japanese address. You have to have a Japanese address. It's like, dog, it's a digital version of a game. Like, you can't find a torrent of it. I haven't seen anything. It's like, it's just stupid. Like, I want to play the original version on modern hardware, potentially without having to jump through all these hoops, because I want to play through the game. I want to play the gritty, difficult, challenging Xanadu of the past that everyone like loved and paid millions of dollars for copies of it. Like, I don't want to play the watered down modern version with all of the extra amenities that they like make it more accessible. Like, the game got popular for its cutthroat, like esoteric, strange, sometimes oppressive. It's just the same thing we have with the Johnny games, right? Like, you have these games that are like, you know, they're time capsules into somebody's life that we're sort of wading through. Like, and the water is getting muddier and muddier. It has more and more algae. It's more and more difficult, and it's getting harder and harder to sort of grasp onto the ground of what this stands on. And I love that about it, and I appreciate that they're preserved. I appreciate we can play them on modern machines. And a lot of these retro games, you know, these companies just have this stuff collecting dust in a corner, and they don't want to like dust it off and put it on Steam to make it more accessible. It's annoying. It bothers me. Random tangent. But thank you for the comment, Hammer. I do appreciate that. I hope one day to have some more viewership, not because of any liking for fame or anything like that, because I see in a lot of the downfall videos and stuff that I watch a lot of that drama stuff. I see that there is a cost and a price to being famous. I like where I'm at now. I like talking with you guys. I like being personable. I like it. The only thing I wish I did have the viewership for was to give more viewership to like games that I really like, things that I find really interesting, to sort of like, you know, pay it forward. I hope that my voice does get large enough for some of these things, even for like the Johnny things like this, so that I can talk about it more. Because a lot of these things get swept under, you know, the flow of time, and I find that really frustrating. That's why I try to find games that have like little, you know, that aren't well known. I like more obscure stuff. I like stuff that's more imperfect, that seems more human, that seems more real. I really don't like a lot of the, you know, and that's not to say the AAA companies can't make good games. Like, obviously Elden Ring's a pretty good game. It's got a lot of interesting design elements to it, but I do hope that I can have, you know, at some point the ability to showcase some more stuff to like a wider audience that enjoys that sort of thing. But the nature of those obscurities is that you're destined for obscurity, right? Like, people find the most popular things are generally like the things that have the most eyes on them, and it can be difficult to sort of turn eyes to the little bugs that live under the big rocks. You have to put in some effort to turn over, you know. So we'll see. No cap, always super kind and enjoyable to watch. I really appreciate that, Hammer. Thank you. I think they would see Johnny and say it's anti-Semitic. Yeah, I made that joke earlier. I think you're right. I think people would see Johnny and be like, oh, this is like, anti-Semitic because he has a big nose. But it's funny because like the big nose is like a tool that you can use, and it also, like I brought up the Norwegian folktale thing here as well, because it does seem like that we're following in some of like the unconscious undertones of like a troll. You know, there's aspects of that I thought were magical and mystical and weird about it, that you can shrink and grow your nose bigger. It's a fascinating concept. But yeah, I could definitely see, like, you know, when you have prejudice against just the cover of a book, you never really know what's in the book until you read it, which is unfortunate because we only have limited time, so we can't read every book. Sometimes you just have to use whatever patterns you have and try your best to understand what it is. So, he lies a lot, but I mean specifically, you deserve his viewership without the bad streamer part. The guy himself, I got you. Anyways, I digress. Yeah. Sorry, I digress. I had a really long-winded, random flitting of topics there, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know any of this anyways, but what I do know is that I am ready for Johnny 21. People in chat, please play Johnny games with us too. Yep, play the games with us. Don't kill the Johnny series. Johnny 22 is the longest. Oh, the longest. Okay, then we're going to save Johnny 22 for the next stream. I'll actually get into this. Let's start this. I've been waiting around. I have been edging the audience with Johnny 21. So it's time to stop edging and get into it. So this one, as you'll note, if you've seen the screen, we don't have a title. We only have the start game and the load game. And we have an F1. So all these old games, I love the F1. We can see what the information is if you press F1 in the old Game Maker games. So controls, arrow keys to steer, as usual. Control shoot, enter to restart. Oh, we have shrink and unshrink. And then F1 is help. If you didn't know that, you wouldn't have never figured it out. A new game only in the menu, load game only in the menu. We don't have a backspace to load them. That's interesting. Escape is quit. Mr. Kubus did everything. Design and ideas, he's taking credit for that. Programming this. Managed through all the levels. Thank you for playing. We hope you enjoy this production. So now we have a sort of a multiple person thing here. Oh, interesting. I didn't know you could sort of zoom out in this. I didn't realize we had that option. Okay. Interesting to see, by Kimberly Kubus. KimberlyKubus.com. Interesting. Okay. Notice in this one how nothing is misspelled either. In previous ones there was like a slurring of vowels, but this is really coherent, which I'm curious to see if that bodes well for how this game plays. Is it going to be a really coherent game, or is it going to be incoherent? Everything is readable, even if the punctuation isn't perfect. Nothing is spelt wrong. Nothing is slurred. There are no extended vowels or consonants. And there's actually quite a bit of information here about when and where it works and the context it works. Shrinking, unshrinking. Interesting. Okay. Without further ado, we will begin anew in another Johnny 21. We have a bold outline. Wow, this noise. Let's go. Okay, I'm turning this down slightly because it's just a constant noise. Oh, it's fading out now. Interesting. Okay. Let us go. So we can shrink. Nice. Get stuck in the walls. That's why I love to see. PG HQ. Dep 23. Is that what that says? Department 23. That's what that is. It's department without the T. Okay, our enemies are bold as we are. But they don't have any bullets, interesting enough. Also, our bullet is a picture of Kim's face, it looks like. Or it looks like sometimes it turns into Kim. So the weapon itself becomes Kim. Interesting. We can still shoot down. That's pretty consistent. Oh. Oh! Okay. Let us go. Okay, I want to get to the left of these. Interesting. It reminds me of one of the artists I do like, Dali. I have some of his books too. Because he's pretty funny and interesting in his own artistic, creative way. Oh, weird. There's like a small version of us going in front of us. Okay. Can I kill that? Oh, it's an enemy. But it's like small and... Wait, there's platforms down there. Oh, wait, they're flying everywhere. Why was it so easy to get up the first? Oh, it's because I got a shrink. That's what I forgot. I have a shrink ability. Oh, I can shrink. Yeah, what am I doing? I forgot how to play the game. Oh, this giant loud noise of this like Tesla coil in my ear is making it hard to think. Let me go above this so that I'm not stuck in the confines of the path. Oh, never mind. We can't go too high. I forgot about that. High is die. Remember. Play along with us at home if you are. I don't see any glitches. Oh, look at that. That was a perfect diagonal there. I don't see... There's a lot of enemies over here. Oh, are all the level ends denoted? Is that what that is? We're actually portaling to the next area? Okay, put me in, coach. Oh, I dodged him narrowly. Nice. This is the first game to actually denote the level ends. And that's funny because the last game, some of the end of the game was exploring these sort of random exits that we didn't quite know for the level. So it's interesting to see that he deliberately chose to mark them now. Perhaps one of his friends was like, yo, dude, I like your games, but I really hate that I can't tell where the hell I'm going. Okay, can we fit? We can't. I don't like trusting these guys. Because they, at any moment, they could just decide to jump up like popcorn. Deciding at a moment to pop. When I least expect it. The enemies are wide-eyed and staring, but not shooting at me. A lot of passive enemies in this one. Just watching. Oh, look. Okay, never mind. That guy just lunged at me. I got a little bit too close. I threatened his, Okay, same for that one, too. I threatened his comfort zone, and he's like, yo, man, back off. And I got beat up because of it. Okay, let's see if we can kill this melted dog. I mentioned Dali because of the melting clocks. I don't know if I finished that thought. Sorry, I'm sort of processing the game in real time as I sort of give my impressions and also relate it to other things. But Dali has the famous melting clocks, that sort of surrealist artist, if you haven't seen his stuff. Salvador Dali. And I was reminded of those clocks when I looked at that melted dog face. Okay, I keep forgetting I can be small because I gotta remember each Johnny game is its own unique sort of thing. Perhaps even though I might be playing a little bit too passively, waiting to kill all these guys. Like, could I just go over this? Could I fit in this? I don't think I can. Let's remember our strats. Nice. Okay, so we utilized some techniques from previous games where you can go up a platform slowly by holding the right to jet yourself into it and then tapping lightly the opposite key to climb up it, if you will. The noise is getting louder, but it also is fading out. Oh, wait, we can jump multiple times. Holy shit, we have like an infinite jump. Can I do that while small too? Oh, that's amazing, bro. I just realized it. That's so cool. Okay. So I can like float as long as I want. Okay, well, you gotta be good at it. You can like swim. Each level is like it's like a swim. I can just... Okay, I should probably be small here, but I felt like I could hit... Yeah, okay, nice. This is awesome. Okay, I can't go too high, though. Okay, wait. I gotta... It's like Flappy Bird, basically. It's ostensibly Flappy Bird. Nice, dude. This game actually feels awesome. Like, can I go down here and then just sort of find my way under the floorboards of this level? Oh, look, there's a exit over there. Oh, okay, that's the exit. Let's get big to hit it easier. Oh, this is a cakewalk, bro. The music is horrible, but I can go anywhere. I can do anything. Johnny is limitless in this one. He's 21 now. He's an adult. He's capable. He's got freedom. Maybe that's what this is about. This is about him, his maturing of age. He's legally recognized as an adult now, so he can sort of do anything. He has freedom. He can flap If anything, the Icarus thing gets even deeper here because now we are literally able to flap like a bird, to fly like Flappy Bird. Okay, what I want to do is I think I want to like. Okay, actually, I remember in previous games I had this thing where I would, yeah, do that. Oh. Oh. Interesting. I can do this as long as I don't touch my nose. Sorry, I haven't been reading chat, but this is actually really fun. I quite love this. This is really good. Can you slow your descent by jiggling? No, but you can flap infinitely. Hopefully, I'm sorry, that comment's probably old now, but Dali and Kubus have the same creative process of utilizing unconsciousness. Kim induced highly inspired states of mind, while Dali painted right after waking up in his hypnagogic state. Yeah. The closest thing to consciousness reaches to the surreal. I love how crazy the sound is. Ultra fun. I'm really glad to play this game. Yeah, this game's awesome. Yeah, specifically for those of you at home that want to try to induce a more hypnagogic state, Dali and even Ford had two options of getting into the hypnagogic state. So what Dali would do is he would let himself fall asleep in a chair with a spoon in his hand and then a dinner plate at the bottom of the chair. And then right when he was about to like enter the, right before falling asleep, but not totally falling asleep, he would drop the spoon, let go of it, and then would drop it onto the plate and wake himself up, and then he'd immediately paint or do something immediately after that. He was really trying to get into dreams and stuff. And even Ford, for certain things, from what I've heard, is he would fall asleep with like a bunch of marbles in his hand, and then when he fell asleep, he'd drop the marbles, and then wake himself up and then sketch. I've even heard other people of sitting in a dark room for a long period of time without any sort of input in order to sort of just let boredom solve the situation. That given enough time, the human mind would just wander enough to come up with a solution for whatever needed to be done. These enemies are very interesting, and this is probably like my sneakiest strategy, but I'm calling it the Johnny under the floorboards. Who's knocking? It's Johnny, obviously. I don't even need to confront these devilish creatures. I can simply just move at my own, assuming that he gives me space. Okay, I can't go too high though. We can't get too close to the sun being the top border of the game. This one is pretty fun and very playable. Okay, these guys I think I need to kill. They have red eyes. They look very... Oh. Moment. Wait. Nice. Something I would like to see too, which I don't know if Kim necessarily does in any of the games, I would actually like to see multiple exits and perhaps even backtracking to previous levels based on, getting rerouted. I know that might be annoying as a mechanic, but I would like to see some variety in level shifting of like where and how you go, places you go. I don't know if that's explored in this 2D space. Each of the rooms sort of explore a specific thing, but I don't know necessarily. I was trying to go over it that way. I don't know if we explore an interconnected room thing here. It is getting... The more enemies there are, the louder it is. The more difficult it is to think. Okay, should I wait? Will these snakes with large noses give me a... Nice. Nice. The closest the consciousness reaches to surreal. Oh yeah, sorry. Ultra fun. Really glad. Okay, I'm caught up. We're all here together. I apologize if I missed anyone's thing. You can copy and paste it, and I will read it again. Or read it if I haven't read it already. Or maybe you just want to hear more of my thoughts about it. That's fine too. You can paste it again, and I'll generate a new response based on how I'm feeling in this very moment, temporally. Okay, so the sound has changed. The enemies kind of look like they're drawn out of a comic book, or like a notepad or something. Some of them are kind of deranged looking. Oh, wait. We should utilize our strat, right? Nice. There's a lot of movement options, and this one might just be short by nature of it being a simple to move. Okay, I messed up. You may tell that this is really loud. I have it limited for you guys, but this is blaring in my ear. A lot more disorientating than previous games, but we have quite a bit of maneuverability, so that makes up for the disorientating sounds. I thought he was going to chase me down. Okay, we can't get too gutsy with it. Oh. So it seems if either Johnny dies, then... Well, let's put them together. Let's combine our Johnny-ness. Oh. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, we can't get too high. We can't get too low. We can't... But I think if I push them together, yeah, that makes it easier. If they're generally in the same place. Nice. Okay, they lunge at me. This feels like I'm using my skills to sort of thwart them themselves. Like the hostile enemies do fight me, but I'm using like my skills and trickery to sort of outwit them, is what it feels like. Like in previous Johnny games, it was important to sort of face each enemy, to sort of kill them, to sort of be an active player. But now it's like, it seems avoidance is a pretty important strategy. It looks like I have to go that way. Oh! Oh, man. Okay. Can I... Oh, man. I feel like I gotta... Nice. I'm doing pretty good. These kind of look like they're wearing a mask or something. Very interesting enemy here. Looks like somebody in a dress or something. Looks like a woman in a dress with like a masquerade mask on and like one leg out on the other side. Maybe I'll kill one. See how long they take to kill. A lot of HP on these things. Maybe they're not made. Oh no, they die. Okay. They have like a little blip noise when you kill them. Trying to fit in that hole. Be sneaky. Nice, nice. Okay. Kim had talent. I think most people wouldn't be able to draw this way if they tried. Yeah, I think he is doing that sort of unconscious drawing stuff, which is pretty interesting. But then again, I don't think anybody should try to be like anybody else. I think I want to see everyone their own honest sort of takes on the stuff, which is why even if people make Johnny fan games, I really want to just see what comes out of it. Which is why I will encourage game dev till the day I die. Because all of these things are approachable and doable to the average person now with the tools that we have. Okay, I think these ones I'm... Oh, can I go left? So for those of you watching out there that need an excuse to make something, this is your moment. Come on. Make it. It's easier than it has ever been to make things. You're robbing the world of your voice, which is important. even if you don't believe it to be so, or even if you've met people that tell you otherwise. We all contribute collectively, comrade. So show us your art. You build it, you'll find people that are like-minded and identify with the feeling that you put out. Use the Johnny games as an example. Okay, that was my supportive streamer encouraging the budding artist out there. I was gonna say now I need to do the complete opposite, but I don't think I could do it. I'm having too much fun with this one. It wouldn't be honest. Ooh, okay, he's blocking the hole. Come on. Put him up. Move left. He did just to bait me. It was a feint. If given the option to choose pacifism and avoidance, I will. Why fight when I can fly? Why run when I can jump? Okay, these guys I might actually have to kill. The screeching noise in my ears. Alright, you guys think I got this? How long must I wait? How many more days must I toil? Sitting perched atop here, my nose buried into the mountain. Alright, I'll actually just kill him. I was gonna take my time. I'm like, I don't know about this. Great sound. Beat it. Wish the game was longer. Score is 25. 2 Johnnies. I don't know if this is a great sound. These bug enemies are very scary because they're actually realistic. What the hell? Now we can hear the music. Hey, mate. It's after 5 a.m. here, so I'm going to be heading off for the night. Sorry I'm not staying to the end. I love the message. I appreciate you coming out, Brent. I know it's super late for you. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate seeing you. I think this is the end. If Noli just beat it, then I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close. I've been cruising through it. This is the final thing I'm going to play today, so thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming out. And I'm looking forward to see what you do with your game, Brent, with Thirsty Princess. Fuzzy, I'm looking forward to your game. Hammer, I'm going to look at your city game later today. I'm going to eat first, I think. And then I might try to excise. I might try to take the old drill bit to the head and sort of bloodlet a little bit to let some of this life out and into some creative work. So we have here a rock with hair and eyes. For those of you following along at home, this is the eponymous rock with hair and eyes. Oh, his bullets kind of follow me, dude. Maybe I don't even need to... Oh, shit. He's got some moves, dude. Guy's got some moves. The squares rotate wildly. Oh! Oh! Okay. Come on, gotta get the damage back on him. Nice. Kim's got beautiful, luscious, blue, long hair. You've won, Johnny 21. Game created by Kim Kubus, a.k.a. Okkerstrom, Sparlaticus. Your score is 32. Okay, I'm going to stay until this guy is dead. That's it, Brent. That's everything. 2008, PG Games Entertainment. I think Johnny 21 might be the easiest ever. It might be. It might be the easiest. That was really fun. I really like that one. I think it forces you to not engage with the Johnny game in a way. Like it was, you basically could avoid everything. Johnny feels like it's an effort to deal with the suffering of what it means to be Johnny. But in that one, I felt like I could really just avoid everything. Oh, I clicked and moved my thing here. But no, that was pretty interesting. I like that one. That one was very fun. Very playable Johnny. You said after 27 they get like really unplayable, so we got quite a few to go. If I do like anywhere from 3 to 5 a day, I'll be pretty close soon here. We'll see. We'll see how long some of these. You said Johnny 22 is the longest. I felt like 9 and I think 18 was really long. So we'll see where I get to and how that goes. So we're heading to bed. I was hoping to make my Steam page public this weekend, but I have to wait until Steam finishes their review. Yeah, the review process takes a long time, but I'm looking forward to seeing it whenever it is. I'm wishlisting it instantly. I'm just going to be throwing my money at the screen until Steam accepts it. So, yeah, I'll let you know. Thank you. Let me know. Send me a DM if I miss it, and we'll do it. Actually, let's take a moment to look at Hammer's game here. Let me pull it up. I want to see what he was talking about. I always love seeing new people's stuff. Let's show a bit of it off. Since you sent me the link here. Web City. Looks like it plays in browser. Amazing. Amazing. The hardest is the last Johnny, but the mini boss in Johnny 2 is harder. Yeah, that mini boss in Johnny 2 took me hours, bro. It took me hours to beat that. I was there forever. And Brent was watching. All right, so this is Web City from Hammerdome. Build, manage, and grow your virtual metropolis in this retro-style city game. Let's play this map. Enter city name. Johnny. Let's do easy. I want to see what this looks like. More residential zones, meaning how do we move around? More commercials. Oh, we can use arrow keys to move. And he said something about going in the tool. Oh, okay. Can we enable disasters? Oh, we can. Oh, we can do monsters. Oh, that's cool. Where is he at? He's somewhere down in the... I don't have a mini-map in my map. It looks like I just got a lot of... Oh, there are edges. Time is passing. There is water. All right, let's ignore this for now. Let's build something by the city here. So let's see, we got a budget. Cash flow, funds, current funds. We have $20,000. I would probably like a comma there to make that easier to read, but I know this is like really beta. Wait, we need to go to our tools page. Let's build residential. Okay, so it's just, oh, it needs power. I can't right click to remove that. Okay. How do I turn it off? Do I close tools? No, I still have that. Okay, so maybe I just gotta... We have industrial, it needs power. We can build roads. Cool. We can build railways for trains. Wire? More commercial zone needed. Bulldozer. I'm assuming to remove stuff. We can do coal. Is that providing wire to that? Oh, it is. Okay, now that's connected. Okay, so then can we... connect that then? Okay. We could do a stadium. I don't know if we need a stadium yet. We do a park. I feel like we need more parks. So let's put them right by the coal factory. All the kids can come and play in the park in the coal factory. That seems kind of like a modern thing we would see. Look at that. You got a residential area. Kids can go play. There's all this coal fumes over here. We're going to add a couple more industrial things to sort of give them a little bit of sightseeing over here. It looks like things that are connected adjacently do get powered. Oh, I guess it was powered through residential. We need a fire station just in case. It says more commercial zones. What if I don't want McDonald's in my town? What if I don't want it? Still some roads to this. This is pretty cool, Hammer. I like this so far. Very simple. I like that about it. Do we need roads to the fire department? Can wires go over roads? Oh, they can. Nice. Very convenient. Might as well build more roads if we need them. I don't know. Oh, we can't. These cross sections for some reason. Oh, probably because it needs that. Oh, the monster's still there. Still doing. Pollution is really high. That's weird because I got a lot of parks. That's kind of strange. Do we need to worry about crime? How could there be crime in this idyllic little place? I can't imagine that ever happening. Make sure you turn on disasters. Oh, I thought they were on. I have disasters here. I can choose disasters, but it's not necessarily turned on. Where is the settings? Pause. Play. Tools. I like this flip thing here. That's kind of cool. I don't see settings. Oh, about brings me to about. Go to settings. You haven't turned on disasters in settings. It's in settings. Am I? Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry, settings is usually to the right. Yeah, let me turn them on. There you go. Sorry. I'm not reading. I got streamer brain right now. This is pretty cool. How do I know? I guess I just got to watch my population increase and then see the money and score. Okay, I see. And then we got time happening. We're in 1900s where there's Godzilla attacking us. We could also do nuclear power too. Why not? That can't possibly go wrong in any way, shape, or form. It looks like it has its own. Can we run it to the grid? Nice. And then pollution is really high. How do I reduce pollution? And sort of put some roads here. I feel like I'm building my own micropolis city here. We got some intersections. I love that for me. This is really good. Just in case they want to go somewhere, I want to give them the option. You can get behind people's houses. That's going to be really good for noise pollution. I love that. Do we have a reason to get over here? I don't know if they need roads for anything. Does roads even do anything? Pollution is still very high. Yeah, I hear you, but I can't really bulldoze away pollution. I suppose I can make more parks. What if we just let the kids play by the police station? That way all the criminals get taken in, and then there's just this beautiful park. You're noticing a pattern, I think, by this point. We have an unconventional city afoot. I see things happening. I don't know what is happening. I don't have enough information to know. Like, I can't click on these things to get any information. It looks like they're building stuff in the residential area, with the squares being taken up. It's pretty cool. Oh, Johnny is now a town. Oh, we made it. What is query? Oh. Is this how I get information? Police department, medium, lower class, safe. Growth is declining. Pollution is moderate. Is the more parks I have just going to make... I thought nuclear power was less pollutive. Hammer, I like this. This is pretty cool. I'm going to play more of this later, but this is pretty awesome. Thank you for sharing. I like this so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. Okay, let's take a look at the disasters, though. Let me make sure I haven't missed any of your stuff. Evaluation button, parks. Click evaluation button when you have time. Yeah, parks fixes pollution. Click query. Okay. Evaluation. Oh, I see. This is like our stats. Is the mayor doing a good job? 64% of people say yes. Houses, pollution, and taxes. How do I deal with taxes? Oh, I can even do a port, too. Can I do a port over here? I can do a port over here, but can I do it on water? Area must be bulldozed first. Okay. Make it so that, like, right-click turns off this thing. That would be my first thing to do. Budget. We have negative cash flow. Well, it's probably because I accidentally... I can't... I have insufficient funds to bulldoze the shit I built. Oh, no. My town is not making money. I'm poor. I spent all my money on creating parks in a terrible area. And now these ports that I can't power are sucking all the money out of my thing. I can also take a picture, though. Let's take a picture. Nice. Click here to view. What a beautiful picture. Right-click to save. Okay, that's cool. I see we have some information over here, too. There's a button to set taxes. Might as well just disaster it. Yeah, I'm going to disaster it now. Let's see what the disasters are. We got fire. I see a fire starting. We got flood. Do I have to select where to put the flood? I'm just going to assume a flood is happening. Maybe I'll close my tools menu. Maybe this is where the flood is. We can set taxes. Obviously, dude, we got to be able to go more than 20%. I want to give like 200% taxes. The tax rate is too high. Well, we got to fund all these parks, dude. I can't do this. I got $69. Perfect money. Perfect gamer amount of money. I want to see the rest of the disaster. Sorry, I'm clicking around here. Crash? Is that like, oh, a plane has crashed. Okay, that's kind of cool. Meltdown. Oh, the power plant melts down. Disasters. Tornado. Nice. We got a little tornado over here. That's cool, dude. I like that. Awesome work, Hammer. I'm excited to see more of Web City. I also am excited to see, I don't know if you're going to make little cars drive on the road or something. I'm not really sure what the point of the roads are. I don't know if I have anything to connect right now. But that's cool. And I think I saw most of the things here. We got port, stadium, airport, and stuff like that. They really want me to reconsider this budget. So can we do negative taxes where I pay them money? That would be funny too. Oh, roads have a cost. Fire station has a cost, and police have a cost. We have 0% money going to the police. Okay, nice. Cool Micropolis type city builder. That's awesome, dude. Thanks. Rip your disasters. Yeah, rip my disasters. Ugh. All right, awesome work, guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna cook some eggs, make tacos. I don't know. It's a whole world out there for me. We'll see what I decide to do. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for everyone who commented and talked. I really enjoy the conversation and chat. And I'll be doing this again, I believe, tomorrow. So we're going to play more of the Johnny games. Awesome work, Hammer. I love seeing this type of stuff. I love people making stuff, so that's awesome to see. We will continue tomorrow with Johnny 22. I believe we're on 22, right? Yep, Johnny 22. And we're pretty close to the end of the series. So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for talking. I know we did a lot of random topics today. That's about it. I don't think I have anything else to say. Have a good day. Thanks. Peace, man. Peace to you too. We'll talk later. And then I'm going to upload this on YouTube right after. So for anyone that missed it, you can see it there. Goodbye for now. Good luck wherever you are. Good night, good morning, and have a good day.